Blue? What? Hello? Oh, I can see the mic. Our fans getting picked up in the background. Hold on. It's still getting picked up a tiny little bit. But hello. Oh, excuse me. Hope everything's good, honey. Naomi. Guyan. Happy Tuesday and normal stream week. Can't sleep. Aw. Well, you can sleep to my voice like other people do. How about that? Hehehe. Well, make the pain go away. Pain's not allowed. Yeah, Let me get this set. Because I didn't even turn on PS5 yet, but now it's on. The hell is this? I'm doing good. Work isn't too bad, so this week. Honestly, like I can see my whole week already. So, yeah, work is fine. No stress. I'm just ready to do some more Ace Attorney because it's been a little bit. I realized I'm not even centered. Hold on. Wow. That's better. I was like absolutely not centered properly. But yeah, it's lovely. Yeah, I'm a little tired, but I can't keep not doing this game forever. I gotta get back into it and try to finish it. It was also nice that we finished up Resident Evil 2 last week. And I have an idea for a game I'm gonna replace it with, but I'm not gonna announce it just yet. So, I don't think I'm probably not doing a Wednesday stream. Might as well just take that day off and then do my normal Thursday and Saturday stuff. Love you too, honey. Pat pat pat. Ba ba. Yeah, I am ready. I gotta get back into the lovely world of Ace Attorney. So weird, the Elgato sound is normal. For some reason, my Windows volume's really low. That's so strange. Like, I had to turn that up a lot. Meanwhile, everything's fine here. Alright. Let's get into it. We have an investigation to resume. Good point, beans, yeah. I got the beans. Yep. Alright. Twisted Karma and its last bow. Investigation part 2. Let's do it. So we had to end the trial under an emergency because people collapsed from memory shock. Alright, 3:38 p.m. Shum Suite. November 2nd. I still can't quite believe what just happened. I know. I inquired at the bailiff after the court session was adjourned. And it seems Mr. Vigil was taken to hospital to recover. Yeah. Right. 10 years ago now, Mr. Vigil attempted to commit suicide by jumping out of the window of the prison governor's office. But ever since then, he's completely blocked the memory of those events from his mind. That's just insane. He actually tried to kill himself at that moment. Nobody knew his secret. Not his family, not even the man himself. But I forced it out into the open. Was it wrong of me to do that? Did I overstep the mark, I wonder? Who knows? Bruno! Bruno! Oh, Iris. You're miles away! Anyway, I have the fresh pot of soothing tea for you! You've seen it on there before, Naomi! Blah. Oh, thank you. You and Susie have had an exhausting day so far, haven't you? There's no reason to judge. Blah. I haven't played that much. Oh! Thank you, Iris. How thoughtful of you. Do you happen to know where Mr. Sholmes is? When we came out of the courtroom back into the defendant's antechamber, he disappeared. No! No reason to judge me. I have a fear of being judged. Blah. Oh, no, I don't know. He just suddenly sprung to his feet and left. I said I must leave. I wonder if he's pursuing the mystery of Inspector Gregson's death. Well, you know what Hurley's always saying, don't you? There are mysteries in this world that should perhaps never be solved. For the construction of a solution comes only at the expense of the destruction of something else. What does that mean? It's very well that when you open someone else's old wounds, you often open your own too. He just can't take his own advice and leave well alone. I'm sorry, what? Yeah, Naomi? Yeah? For shame. Some mystery's too important to him. That's so true. That's what I like about Hurley after all. That's a lot of a great detective in some ways. So then, let's have tea, and then I'll give you a hand. What? Oh, do you have time, Iris? Yes, I finished this month's manuscript at last, with barely a day to spare before the deadline. Oh, I'm so looking forward to it. A brand new story to read, The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. You know, I always hide Hurley's violin in the days before I have a deadline. You do? Oh, poor Mr. Sholmes. Why do you hide his trusty violin? Blah. That's kind of mean. I'm sure that's very wise, Iris. How sensible of you. Now then, my dear fellows. Let's make a plan of action before we continue our investigation. First... nothing new to investigate. Alright, let's talk. This morning's trial. So, how did it go in court this morning? Well, we still don't know the truth about what really happened, but one thing's increasingly clear. Forensics definitely didn't do it. Oh, goody! Yes, that's right. We managed to uncover several new facts as well. Oh, really? And there was another development too. Kazuma. Yes, it's quite clear now that Kazuma-sama's not himself. The way he's acting, it's almost as if he's possessed. I know. I mean, at the end of the proceedings earlier, he was like a bloodhound the way he was chasing down Mr. Vigil's forgotten past. He's not normally so mercilessly persistent. He wants the truth of 10 years ago, too. What's going on in his head, I wonder? I really need to sit down with Kazuma and try to understand what he's going through. Alright, the Reaper's innocence. If Gregson was really murdered the day before his body was discovered, then Norvan Seeks has to be innocent, you see? What? The day before? Well, that should be easy enough to work out. Just by examining the corpse, surely. Yes, you would expect so, but curiously, no time of death was included in the autopsy report. That is curious. There's still unanswered questions about Lord Von Zeeks, though, aren't there? Do you mean... I mean, what was he doing there on Fresno Street that day in the first place? According to the man's testimony, he said he was investigating Inspector Gregson, didn't he? And it turns out that little room was actually the Inspector's secret office. Ooh, that sounds like it had all the makings of a wonderfully devilish plot. But then why was that notice board in there covered in all those particular papers? Papers about cases with a link to the Reaper. I'm starting to get a bad feeling about all this. Oh dear, that sounds more like something horribly devilish. We must start by looking into Inspector Gregson's movements so late. Yeah, we need to figure out what the Inspector's been up to before his untimely demise. Gregson's movements. I never imagined I might have to be investigating Inspector's movements. Well, according to the entry in his diary, he was carrying out an incognito investigation of the Redhead League the day before his death. Oh! You mean he was doing the same as Hurley? Well, Mr. Sholmes was trying to apply, whereas the Inspector was supposed to be investigating. I do wish it had been the other way around. Anyways, it turns out the Inspector who went to investigate the Redhead League that day wasn't actually Gregson at all, with Mr. Vigil in possession of Gregson's identification. Yeah, so what happened at that point? You know what that sounds like to me? Establishing an alibi. Oh my! Yes, you're absolutely right, Iris. But why would Gregson need an alibi? Right. Yeah, if people question him, I don't know. It appeared that the Inspector had something to do that he wished to keep secret. I don't believe it. I always thought he was just a harmless lover of fish and chips. Aww. Perhaps they were seasoned with something a little more potent than salt and vinegar. I think perhaps we should try to move away from food analogies? Right? Why are we trying to be hungry? Well, anyway, if Lord Von Zeeks felt the need to investigate Gregson... Yes, I agree. We must try to find out what he knows. And then, yeah, what about Mr. Vigil? He's in the hospital, dang it! Vigil, you say? Isn't that the name of the lady who came to visit Hurley yesterday? That's right. To ask Mr. Sholmes if he would help her to find her missing husband. Only Mr. Sholmes completely passed the buck to us. Actually, didn't you say that Mr. Vigil had been taken to hospital? Do you know which one? It's St. Sinners. I'm starting to wonder if all the other hospitals in London have closed down. That's amazing, Bruno! You found the lady's husband already! Well, I suppose I have, by accident. And 10 years ago, when Mr. Vigil was the chief warder at the prison, he was responsible for overseeing the professor's incarceration. No! So when the convict escaped, he was held responsible and immediately dismissed. Sometimes I really don't want to grow up. There's more. For 10 years after that, he was ostensibly working as a peddler. He also had another secret job. He was paid by Gregson to be a stand-in, to impersonate the inspector. To impersonate Gregsy? But why? I have absolutely no idea. We are all clueless as fuck. She was right. I'm starting to think all adults are up to no good now. No, don't think that. I'm a good boy. I'm a good adult here. I am up to all good. Including you, Bruno. No, what do you mean? I haven't paid anyone to impersonate me. That means he has ties to Professor and to Inspector Gregson, though. So I do think we ought to pay a visit to Mr. Vigil, don't you? Back to St. Sinners, then. We got a lot to do. Well, I think it's clear what we need to do, isn't it? Let's investigate, my dear fellows. Oh, Iris, you're more enthusiastic than usual today. If anyone has anything to hide, my special Wilson's shooting iron will soon set them straight. That water pistol? It's stuffed full of a piping hot, extra special blend of mine. I'm quite sure it'll be very effective. I'd better be careful not to hide anything. Well, feels a little strange that Mr. Sholmes is nowhere to be seen, but still. Let's go and see what we can find out. Alright, we got both girls. I'm sorry I'm not a bad boy, Naomi. I'm always a good boy. I can't help it. We did all the stuff with the spade. We'll go up here anyway. Okay. Yeah, I have the trophy for all the spade talk, so we don't have to worry about that anymore. Okay, so we can't go there yet. I guess we'll start with the Lord Chief Justice's office. Oh yeah, to talk to Kazuma. Right, yeah, we got so many different things to do. Oh my goodness. How about this, Naomi? Maybe I could be a bad boy in private. You think that would work? Oh, I got a message request, I see. No, I got a friend request from somebody I don't know at all. What the heck happened? I wasn't looking. Ah! Bruntley, thank you so much for the follow. Oh my goodness. We just hit 750 because of you. Thank you. Hello, hello. What a surprise. How's it going? What's that? A gold pixel heart? Oh, you donated charity. Nice. I've never seen that pixel heart before. That's cool. Thank you so much. Finally got to 750 followers. I've been stuck on that 749 for like a couple weeks now. Blah. Let's see what's going on here. No arguments, Professor Asogi. Prosecutor Asogi. We'll continue with the trial exactly as I instructed. Is that clear? Perfectly. It's Kazuma-sama. No! Don't do that, Naomi! Don't break my heart! Huh. So it seems that, Kazuma is forcefully having to follow Strongheart's orders. To find Lord Strongheart, by the sound of it, he never did know when to back down. Hi! Your way now, Soki. My lord? Hi. Kazuma. Didn't say a word to us. He left without saying a word. Damn. Can't you talk to the boy? Yes, what are you doing here? Oh, well, I was just hoping to ask you a few questions if you wouldn't mind. I wanted Vensi's trial concluded today. But Prosecutor Soki's unwelcome inquiries are going to make it take longer than necessary. Unwelcome inquiries? As a result, I'm losing even more precious time. Currently 2 hours, 55 minutes, and 41 seconds. 42, 43... We must resolve everything before 3 hours have passed, Naruhodo. In a miraculous not even 5 minutes? Oh my goodness. Anyway, I can't let the man's obvious bad mood put me off. I need information. I need everyone's ID cards now. I need all the information I can use. I hope. Blah. Nothing new again. So at least I don't have to, like, examine much. Alright, the Reaper first. Prosecutor Sogi believe that Lord Von Seeks is the Reaper? I wouldn't know. It was 10 years ago, in that fateful closed trial that Lord Von Seeks made a name for himself among the judiciary. The next trial he fought, he lost. It meant the ringleader of criminal organization was acquitted, thanks to all the jurors being under duress. That's awful! The man's freedom was short-lived. He lasted just 3 days. Yes, let me see. He died in a rock slide at his place of work, I believe. What? What kind of shit luck do you have to have for that? Correct. That was the inauguration of the Reaper of the Bailey. And people believe Lord Von Seeks was responsible? He was brought to trial himself, but it was shown to have been an accident. So he must have had a solid alibi then. Nevertheless, the mysterious deaths continued, until those 16 persons perished in unusual circumstances, ostensibly in the hand of the Reaper. That's a long run of coincidences. Yeah, true. It is a bit of a problem, isn't it? Well, the Reaper's true identity may well be revealed by this trial. And the impact that revelation would have on the British public cannot be understated. Is that why it's a closed trial? Precisely. Yeah, talk about the closed trial. This country hasn't seen a closed trial for 10 years. So the last one was the professors? The trial of Genshin Asogi? Correct. Actually, we heard that originally you were going to prosecute that trial yourself, Lord Strongheart. Von Seeks entreated me to relinquish the prosecution to him, and may avenge his brother's death. And here we are, 10 years later. With the son of the man Von Seeks had condemned, now looking to avenge his father's death in the same way. They do say that what goes around comes around. Oh man, I wish. I wish that when I did good things, it goes back around for me. Maybe someday. Maybe someday all the good things will happen to me at once. You know, and you'll be happy in life forever. Blah, blah, blah. However, it would seem that the new young prosecutor is harboring some ulterior motive as well. Kazuma is? I'd like my organization to run smoothly, the exact manner that I prescribe. As with the giant clock in here, I won't tolerate a single cog being out of step with the others. Ah, so that's what all these gears are about in here. Perfect synchronization. The young man refuses to mesh with the other parts of my great machine. I will be forced to take steps. What? What do you mean? That's something with which you need to concern yourself. In any case, all your questions will be answered tomorrow. I have a feeling Strongheart's gonna be the prosecutor at some point. Because I think Kazuma's gonna do too much, and then he'll be relinquished mid-trial. Now, I shall have to ask you to excuse me. As at this moment, I've been delayed from attending my next meeting by precisely 3 hours. Oh my, that is a long time. And I hold you entirely responsible. Even though we miraculously managed to hit everything into not even 5 minutes. I wonder if you might agree. To us, talking with Prosecutor Sogi. Discussions between defense and prosecution outside the courtroom are generally frowned upon. However, I will make an exception in this case. Now go. You can find him in his office. Oh, thank you. Oh, we do get to talk to him. Let's go. Let's go. We gotta go. Talk to our boy Kazuma. You'll see him once, Mr. Naruhodo. Kazuma's my best friend in the whole world, but I'm really not at all sure I know how to talk to him at the moment. He may not want to talk to us, but we're going to talk to him. Naomi! Why? You did not have to gift a sub to Brutley. Blah. Well, thank you for another gifted sub. Ah! I know I can't. Blah. Well. Oh. Kazuma's currently in Von Zeke's office. Oh, heck and dare, blah. Alright, let's go see a Kazuma. So, this is the office of Prosecutor Kusogi now, is it? Kazuma is doing so well for himself. Even though he's always forced to kneel on the floor Japanese style in the dark corner, it's his habit to sit Caesar style whenever he's working. Well, it looks like our journey here was wasted. The prosecutor appears to be out. Perhaps we should discuss things with our prosecutor we know first? Hold on, we gotta look at everything. Let's see, what have we here? Mr. Naruhodo, it would be very underhand to glean information from Kazuma-sama's office while he's absent. We should wait until he's here before we start nosing around. Oh, of course, yes. She doesn't take any nonsense when it comes to Kazuma, does she? Oh boy. Alright, I can't look at anything. This was a waste. Let's go to prison instead. Hi, Von Zeeks. Oh. Oh no. Naomi, your worst fear, your worst nightmare is back. When Von Zeeks is reading, look. It doesn't seem like he wants visitors, does he? But he must have noticed that we're here, surely. Boo Pat. I was waiting for that. What do you Nipponese want? That's no way you greet the lawyer who's trying his hardest to prove your innocence, is it? Perhaps not. Hmm? Oh my god, he was being nice? Oh my god, he's apologizing? What? What? Who are you and what have you done with the real Von Zeeks? I apologize. So what can I do for you, Mr. Naruhodo? Von Zeeks speaking earnestly. Oh, what the fuck? We'll live over London for the first time in months tomorrow. This does feel very, very strange. I must say, I was impressed. Oh, well, thank you. Not by you, by your fellow Nipponese, your prosecutor friend. Oh, I see, yes. It's sardonic, don't you think? For a man such as me, so loathing of the Nipponese, to be entirely at the mercy of the two of you. I suppose it's retribution for having played the part of the Reaper all these years. Played the part? Wait, played the part? What does that mean? Huh? The Reaper's identity? You know? You once told me that you gladly allowed people to believe you were the Reaper because it helped reduce the amount of serious crime that took place in London. If keeping quiet and playing the part benefits the cause, a cause I myself am committing to pursuing, then why would I choose to say anything? But the henchman of a criminal killed by the Reaper attacked you only the other day. And that was just the most recent of many attempts on your life, wasn't it? Someone's clearly profiting from your silence about all this. Someone is using you. Believe me, ever since the Reaper first appeared, I've been doing my utmost to expose him. Or rather, expose the organization. Ah! It's a whole organization? Ooh, we got a crime syndicate? It's inconceivable that all those accidents were orchestrated by one man. No, the Reaper always appears to have very accurate information about the accused in each case, which can only mean that somebody at Scotland Yard is involved. Someone at... You can't mean... It's taken me many years, but I finally identified the central figure in this Reaper organization. Tobias Gregson. No. Gregson is the Reaper? Oh no. No. No! Gregson the Reaper? So, the reason you were investigating Inspector Gregson is because it does make sense why all the Reaper cases were on that board then. You intended to expose him as the Reaper? As I said, the Reaper of the Bailey is no single person. It's a highly secret organization with close ties to Scotland Yard. But there's no doubt that Gregson was a key member of that organization. I don't believe it. Are you saying that that he was behind all those awful criminals, meaning they're... Gregson didn't do the dirty work himself. Oh! He was the tactician. Oh, he's like me. His job was covertly investigate the marks and plot their assassinations. In order to do that without arousing suspicion, he regularly needed a firm alibi. Which is where Mr. Vigil came in, posing as the inspector. Vigil knows nothing of the Reaper, but the room he rents on Fresno Street was almost certainly the headquarters of the operation. Gregson would have met the assassin there for briefings. So we don't actually know who carried out the killings then. Actually, I do have a name. What? What do you mean you have a name? Well, if you can name the man, you have the true identity of the Reaper already then. Or, if I can name the woman. Oh. She's a young woman by the name of Asa Shin? Asa Shin? Wait, what? Shin? Oh! She's the Reaper? Oh! I know! Naomi's crazy, Bruntley! She's a wild bean for that. Ah, blah. Miss Asa Shin, the true name of a terrifying killer I know only too well. She came to Japan posing as a visiting student and murdered Dr. John H. Wilson. Then, just when it seemed that diplomatic protection would have helped her escape Japan and conviction, the mysterious woman was herself murdered in a small summer beach hut. Damn! Got that hip popping out hard! Damn, alright, I respect. That woman was actually the Reaper of the Bailey? It all connects to the very first case. That's insane. Mr. Naruhodo, this perhaps isn't the place to discuss. No, of course not. We can't mention it here. The fact that she killed Dr. John H. Wilson. Because Iris doesn't know, and it's really likely that the man was her father. Asa Shin, I should let father know at once. Yes, I agree. I don't do what I want. I suppose there must be some sort of karmic counterpoint to me? What? I don't know, Guyan. Man, so we got Gregson being a tactician for the assassination plots, and we got Asa Shin, who we met at the very beginning of the first game, being the actual assassin, the Reaper. What the fuck? Alright, Prosecutor Sogi. Kazuma, isn't it? Kazuma's Sogi. You say he's a friend of yours. My best friend. He's the whole reason I got to come to Bryn. It was all on his merits. I have nothing but respect for him. Yes, I understand that only the very best students are selected for such opportunities. And I had a fine demonstration how sharp he is in the proceedings earlier today. He missed nothing. In fact, his flawless performance very much reminded me of his father. Genshin Asogi, the professor. It's true that the aristocracy at the time was the root of numerous grave societal problems. They were abusing their power, playing with the common man as pawns in politics, in economics, in war. In many ways, Asogi was carving out a canker from the society that we British couldn't deal with ourselves. I see. That's precisely why it makes no sense. Clint Van Zieks was a noble and upstanding man. He wasn't corrupt. Why did that damn nitbeezy have to go and take my brother's life? In spite of having once saved mine. What? Oh god, this is even more tragic for him! He saved your life? How did that happen? What the fuck? Why? This conversation is getting so many complex things happening. Hi, Devil. It was 10 years ago on a foggy night. What was to be the professor's final strike had sent a wave of panic through the capital. So Clint Van Zieks had already been killed at this point then. Genshin and I were walking down some back streets at a late hour. Of course, at that point, I had no idea of the true nature of the man at my side. All of a sudden... Don't make a peep, you're coming with us. Oh! We were surrounded. All of our assailants were armed with pistols, their faces obscured by scarves. Clint was not only from noble heritage, he was a brilliant prosecutor as well. The scum of London hated the sight of him, and had no sympathy for his younger brother either. I'd been targeted several times before already. Yeah, Van Zeke's alright, we got him! I could hear them murmuring amongst themselves. I knew they were after me. Just when I thought my time had come, if I let them kill you, Clint would never forgive me. Really? It was Sogi's voice, just a whisper in my ear. Ah! You pat me and there was a bang. After that, I don't remember exactly what happened. The next thing I knew, there was silence all around. Genshin lay on the cobbled street. Blood was seeping from his left hand. He'd shielded me. What a thing to say. That makes no sense then. Something has to be off about this whole thing. It doesn't sound like Genshin actually did kill anyone. There's no reason you should have protected Van Zeeks, right? On suspicion of being London's most notorious mass murderer ever, the Professor. How awful for you. All at once, I lost the brother I revered and the foreign friend I held in such high regard. Yeah, there's so much info at once. So sorry, Lord Van Zeeks. That's the end of my miserable tale. I never thought I'd recount it to anyone. Well, thank you for confiding in me. Professor, the Reaper, and Inspector Gregson. I wonder just how intimately related they all are. I still can't quite believe that Gregson was essentially the Reaper, giving assassination orders to Giselle Brett. Sir Hodo, let's go and inform my father. I'm sure our government will want to hear about this new information. Oh, that means I get to meet your daddy, Susie. Hooray! Yes, alright. Let's head back to the Great Waterloo Hotel then. Yeah, that's definitely the right choice to do. Yeah, let's go back. I mean, we got a clear order of events to go to, so let's do the hotel next. We have no reason not to. I thought it yesterday and I'm thinking again today. This place is so princely. It's a wild guess, but I have a feeling you'll think the same tomorrow too. My tea is a finer fragrance whenever they're serving in the tea room here, though, wouldn't you say? Oh, look who we have here. This unexpected pleasure. Ah, Father! Ooh, is this your daddy, Susie? How lovely! What a charming young lady. And you are? Oh. Ah, really? So you're the author of the Adventures of Herlock Sholmes, are you? Oh, that was a nice, That's me, Iris Wilson, at your service, sir. She's been such a wonderful friend to me over the last year, you know. Well, Miss Wilson, I say I read your work regularly and with much interest. Iris actually lives with Mr. Sholmes, you know, Father. Is that so? Well, perhaps it goes some way to explain that bright look in your eyes. Aww, she's starstruck. Cute. You wouldn't be smiling so early if you knew just how bright she is, believe me. Now then, young Naruhodo, it was a pleasure seeing you in action earlier. As an invitee of the symposium, I was allowed to observe from the gallery. After I twisted some arms. And I must say, it was a truly exemplary performance. Oh, well, thank you very much. Although I'm fairly sure you omitted by Kazuma on the end there. No, please don't misunderstand. It was you who impressed me. Really? You didn't miss a step against Asoki. We all know how capable he is. Really, Richard is such a fine defense lawyer in less than years, quite extraordinary. It's very kind of you to say so. Really nice to hear. Absolutely, I need more praise in my life. What I saw in court today confirmed what I've been hoping for. The favor I mentioned yesterday, Naruhodo, I trust you haven't forgotten. Oh, no, you did mention something, didn't you? But first, you have something to report, Father. Of course. Shall we take tea while we discuss matters further? I wonder where Judge Ichigoku has gone to. Yeah, where is the judge? Yeah, nothing to examine. About the Reaper. Yeah, Father, do you know about the so-called Reaper, the Bailey? I've heard rumors. Some members of the Judiciary explained it all to me yesterday. Of course, when I was a visiting student here in London, the Reaper was yet to emerge. Right, he didn't appear until after that case when the visiting students had already returned home. But Von Zieks was in the dock today. That was Barak, the younger brother of Clint Von Zieks, I believe. That's right, and he's known throughout London as the Reaper, as you've heard. But the truth is, it wasn't him behind all those mysterious deaths. It was somebody else. I see. So what you're saying is there's been a professional killer at work here. Exactly. Someone by the name of Asa Shin, in fact. I beg your pardon? Oh boy, here comes the shock for him. We know. Did you say Asa Shin? You mean the Giselle Brett woman who was responsible for killing my great friend? Oh no, a friend of yours was killed? Professor Mikotoba, I think perhaps we shouldn't discuss this right now. Because the friend the professor was talking about is Dr. John H. Wilson. Oh, I'm sorry! I didn't think she would be an assassin for this entire duology. That's not something we want Iris to find out about. Not like this, anyway. Yeah, about your friend's death. I've just remembered something. Biscuits! This hotel has the most delicious looking biscuits! That was rather out of the blue. Oh, she's doing this deliberately. I think I'll go and see if I can purchase some. I wonder, would you like some too, Iris? Oh, yes! You're just trying to leave me behind. You're just trying to leave me behind. So that young girl is called Iris Wilson, is she? Yes, that's right. She's the author of all those adventure stories starring the great Detective Sholmes. But the name of the credited author isn't Iris, is it? Dr. John H. Wilson. Yes, I know. That's the name of our father, you see. Her father? Dr. John H. Wilson. I was deeply indebted to him for all the kindness he showed me during the time in London. That's why I was keen to reciprocate and invite him to the Imperial Yumi University 4 years ago. Don't be so batty with me, Naomi. I'm sorry. He was murdered last year by Giselle Brett. Why? Why would the hand of the Reaper stretch all the way to Japan? Iris knows nothing about that case, but it seems very likely that the victim, Dr. Wilson, was her father. Well, I can't say that we ever spoke about his family, so I don't know if he had a daughter or not. I think I could say with some certainty that he was never the great detective's partner. So, it could have been another Dr. Wilson, you think? Well, John and Wilson are both common names after all. Still, it's probably best not to mention this to the young lady until we can be sure. Yeah, I don't know. That's what we thought, yes. We're back! With cinnamon biscuits! Oh, they smell delicious, Iris. I think cinnamon will go very well with the tea they serve here, don't you, Susie? Yes, I'm sure you're right, Iris. Did that? That list didn't have Wilson on it, right? I don't remember if it did. But yeah, clearly Wilson was a target, but why? And besides the first case we did where the guy burned alive in the carriage, nobody else has died by the Reaper's hand. Oh, it did? Oh man, I don't remember the list at all. But it also had Kazuma on it. So that's... I don't know. Judge Goku. I haven't seen Judge Goku for a while, have you? Guilty! Ha 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 ha! That's guilty is still ringing in my ears. Maybe, yeah. No, that mentioned. I haven't seen him since this morning either. I suppose since his symposium's opening was postponed, he'll have gone to explore its great exhibition. That reminds me of something you mentioned yesterday. About Judge Goku having once been in the dock himself? Ah, yes. It was all tied up with that accursed trial. The closed trial of Kazuma's father. As Seishiro was trying to mitigate Genshin's guilt, so he took to the stand to testify. But he got a little carried away and, actually managed to break the witness stand. What? How did you break the witness stand? Oh my! He also said some contemptuous words about the British Empire, for which he was charged. Oh dear. Although it's worryingly easy to imagine him doing that. Well, it was all right in the end. He was acquitted and returned home to Japan together. Thank goodness. Ah yes, talking of Seishiro, I have a copy of the photograph we all took together here yesterday. Please. Oh, what a lovely picture. Well this picture's gonna be useful for some reason. It certainly seems to shout we've arrived at Britain. None of us had any idea what was coming when we took that, did we? No, that's so true. Let me take a look quick. I like her smile. It's cute. Very stern face. He's happy too. Very serious. What's this? Why is this photo in evidence, though? No. No, 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 no. Don't tell me the judge killed Gregson. No. The suitcase immediately hits me as thinking that's the same suitcase that was brought to the place to drop Gregson's body off. Oh no. Well, that's my theory right now. The Judge Goku is the killer. What's the favor? So you mentioned a favor that you'd like to ask me? Well, this fateful trial that you're fighting, one way or another, it will be over before long. And when it is, I'd like you to accompany me back to Japan. Want me to do what? Father, what's the meaning of this? Now, Susato, you should understand. You've seen how our courts work firsthand. Japan's judicial system is in its infancy, especially when it comes to defense. Oh, you mean Supreme Court of Judiciary is definitely a good defense lawyer. As soon as possible. Really quite urgently, in fact. But I've not even been in London a year yet. I've read all of Susato's reports. I'm well aware of your extraordinary talents. Having seen you in action with my own eyes earlier today, there's no question. You, Naruhodo, are precisely the man our country needs. Wow. We're gonna be a famous lawyer. So, you leaving then, Runo? But then, what am I supposed to do, Father? Yeah, what about Kazuma? You came here to serve as Asoki's judicial assistant. Oh, yes, she's supposed to be Kazuma's assistant. Our government is still in the process of deciding how best to deal with his situation, though. You've always chosen your own path, Susato, and I trust your judgment. In this matter also. Father! Please, the pair of you, don't look so downcast. It's only a suggestion, you understand. A hope, if I'm honest. But I won't force you. All I ask that you consider it. It comes to a decision by the time this trial concludes. Yes. Alright. You won't leave? Will you, Runo? Oh. The thought hadn't even crossed my mind. Up until now, I've just been trying to do what I believe to be Kazuma's will. But it turns out that he's still alive, so where does that leave me? Oh, that's... No, poor Iris. We're making the girl cry. Well, if you'll excuse me now, I need to telegram government ministers and the Japanese police with this information about Asashin. Of course, Father. Thank you. Yeah, that's pretty important information now. Look forward to next month's installment, Miss Wilson. Oh, good, and please do come Baker Street sometime, won't you? We'd love to entertain you. I would be delighted. Best of luck for tomorrow, Naruhodo. And give my suggestion your full consideration, won't you? Yes, I will. Going back home? What do we do? No, Kazuma-sama's always meant a great deal to my father. I'm sure he'd love the chance to meet with him and talk to him about all this. I wasn't got too close to finding out who the Reapers were. Maybe. But now I have a feeling Judge Goku is also one of the Reapers. No, I don't think Mikotoba's involved. I don't think it's Mikotoba. Or are you talking about Iris's father? No, Mikotoba wouldn't have done it. I think it was just the judge. Yes, no doubt. Asashin. Of course, it's so obvious. Oh, hi! What kind of neglect is there a possibility for now? Mr. Sholmes. Harley, where have you been? Why, I joined you all for tea, of course. What an extraordinary question. Yona! Mwah. I didn't notice you at all. No matter. Anyway, two more pressing concerns. Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, yes? I must dispatch the country at once. It is a matter of much urgency. To Japan, you mean? Tell me, to whom I can entrust the task? Quickly now, who? Well... My father has just now left to send a telegram to the Imperial Police Bureau of Japan himself. I see. Well, he looked reliable enough for a bearded fellow. I don't think what father sports could be considered a beard, Mr. Sholmes. There's not a moment to lose. Kindly answer trusty unshaven father to see this ascent. I will, but what is it? It's fine. It just means Naomi. The question is at the time, if you please, Mrs. Sato. No, don't leave, Yuna. No, stay. Up. No leaving. You are always welcome here. Up. All we can do is pray. That for once, my deduction is awry. Doesn't that imply that your deductions are normally correct, Mr. Sholmes? Which isn't exactly... Now then! You may be surprised to learn that I am a very busy man. I certainly have no time to hide behind cities and eavesdrops on other people's conversations. So that's what joining us for tea meant. I leave the sending of this in your hands then, my dear fellows. No, Naomi! Wait a minute, Mr. Sholmes. He just sort of ran off, didn't he? At quite a pace. And left the unpaid bill for his tea behind, too. Is that all it was? Let's catch up with Father at the telegraph office at once. And I'll really call us a cab straight away. And there was me thinking everyone would be clamoring to pay Mr. Sholmes' bill. Oh no! Oh, I can't do anything but move. Maybe he's there now? Oh, looks like Kazuma's here. Yep. Kazuma. I thought it wouldn't be long before you paid me a visit, Ryunosuke. I was right about what I said, wasn't I? Sorry? You have all the makings of a great defense lawyer. Well, I always believed that you'd fulfill your dream of advocating in the British courts. I just never imagined for 1 second that it would be as prosecutor. See you standing before courtroom so gallantly realizing your dream, Kazuma-sama? I'm truly happy for you. I am truly thankful to you, judicial system, Mikotoba. Aww. Ryunosuke, I always thought it would be fun for you and I to shake up the British legal system a little together. This isn't quite how I envisaged it, but it's just another twist of fate. I have learned a lot of things during my time in London. About how Sao-san's father was himself a visiting student here once along with Judge Jigoku. And about what happened with your father. No difficulty understanding why I had no choice. Why I had to find a way to get to Britain as a visiting student myself. You know now. I want to hear it from you, Kazuma. As you wish, Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Before we talk, I wish to examine everything in your room. Notice these fine collection of hollow chalice and bottles all neatly lined up. Yes, he's extremely particular about all that. He has a strict regime for everything, from storage of the cast to the bottling of the contents. Gosh, he must be having a really tough time of being his apprentice. Actually, no. Oh? He's so particular about it all. He refused to let anybody else touch any of it. That sounds about right. So it's been quite easy for me, in fact. Talk about weird. Chess. There's Lord Von Zeke's incredibly stylish desk. It's not my style, though. No, I noticed you've been working at the little table on the floor, kneeling down Caesar style. That can't be comfortable. I thought it was some kind of punishment set up by Lord Von Zeeks when I first saw it. I find it the most comfortable way to work. I can't do it. After a couple minutes of sitting with my legs folded under me, they start to go tingly. Yup. Same. It hurts. Don't exaggerate, Renosuke. We both know you can't even manage a minute. Damn! Calling me unfit as fuck. That was kind of mean, though. What the fuck? Do you know who the man in the portrait is? Why would I? What? But you're Von Zeke's apprentice. Yes, apprentice, not friend. During the time I was suffering from amnesia, I didn't even notice that picture. Oh, really? I mean, it's not the smallest picture. I wouldn't have the first idea what the man decorates his office with. Fair. What the? It's a scale model of the crime scene. Wait. It's a scale model of the crime scene. Oh, yes, I realize that. Does the prosecution office make a model of the scene for every single case? Apparently so. Sometimes it helps to visualize things better and notice things you hadn't spotted before. Actually, the miniature nose board is my work. Be honest, you enjoyed making that. It must have been cute making this little thing. The fact you had to say that you made this one yourself. Cask floor to ceiling, just like the last time we were here. Hollowed barrels, I suppose. They're arranged according to vintage, flavor, and region. Every week, they're all taken out and put back into order. What? Every week? Von Zeeks can't seem to sell them a perfect way of arranging them, you see. Vintage, flavor, and region don't neatly coincide, that's the trouble. Gosh, being an apprentice must be a real challenge. Actually, no. Oh? He considers the task too important to trust anybody else, so he does it entirely on his own. So he's a barrel of laughs here and in court, then. Jeez. Cosmo literally had to do nothing. Oops. Oh, really? You can't look at this? Oh, the bats. Ah! What? You disturbed the bats, did you? Fitting companions of Lord Von Zeeks, when you say. Actually, I've seen things flying in Lord Strongheart's office, too. Doves, I think. Perhaps you have to like birds to attain rank in the judiciary here? Although bats aren't birds, of course. How about a sparrow for you? What's that supposed to mean? Oh, nothing. Sorry. Just thinking out loud. I don't know what that would mean. Let's talk. Your disappearance first. It's getting on for a year now since what happened on the SS Burya. We're heading across the oceans for Japan to Great Britain. When a bizarre series of coincidences led to those tragic events. I thought I'd lost my best friend forever. I must have been unconscious for a long time. When I awoke, I was lying on a bed. It was a narrow little room. There was a posy of flowers by the pillow. It took me a little while to realize that I was in the cabin of a ship. I slipped out of the room and headed up onto the deck. Were you already suffering from amnesia at that point? Yes, I didn't know what had happened or where I was. There's just this voice in my head. You have something you have to do, something no one else can know about. Go to Great Britain, your task awaits you there. Ah. It was a calling I couldn't ignore. You upheld me relentlessly. On deck, I saw that I was on a huge steamship. It was docked at a large port. It must have been Hong Kong. Yes, it must have been. It's only just before they were due to carry your... Oh, sorry, wrong voice. Yes, it must have been. Presumably just before they were due to carry your body off the ship. I had no idea of the situation, but I did have the feeling this was in some way my last chance. So I concealed myself among the disembarking passengers and went ashore. Then I disappeared into the crowded streets of that foreign port city, so I could plan my onward journey to Great Britain. Alright, talk about your journey. What happened next? Just under a year ago, with all my past memories lost to me, I was left behind in Hong Kong. Everything was foreign to me. The sights, the sounds, the smells. My head reeled. I was truly at a loss. I realize now that I escaped as a dead man, with nothing but the clothes on my back, and no money, of course. Terrifying for you. Luckily, though, I had 2 feathers in my cap. One being your knowledge of English, I suppose. That's right. And on the back of that, I was able to pick up some work as a deckhand on a cargo ship. And eventually, after calling at countless ports, I finally arrived at Dover. That must have been some 3 months ago now. Man, you worked 9 months to get here. Admirable tenacity of purpose showing itself again. I mean, the man had lost his memory and had literally nothing to his name. He still managed to make his way to London on the opposite side of the world. Of course, I had no idea why I'd moved to heaven and earth to get here at this point. So, how'd you get to become Lord Von Ziek's apprentice then? That can only be called an extraordinary stroke of luck, really. You see, I was stopped at the border because I had no papers. They took me straight to Scotland Yard. And by sheer coincidence, Lord Strongheart was there to attend a meeting. That's when the second feather in my cap came into play. Would that have been your knowledge of the law? Yes, exactly. Lord Strongheart was curious about an Easterner with intimate knowledge of British law. He took me back with him to the Supreme Court and assigned me to the prosecutor's office. And then 9 days ago, you finally got your memory back after the trial involving Drebber. Yes, I did. Yeah. That crazy dedication to get a plan you don't even know what you wanted to do. Alright, so let's talk about your father. Ever since I first met you at Yume, you talked about your dream. Mark my words, Ryunosuke, I'll be chosen as a visiting student and make my way to Great Britain someday. Did you know the entire time about what happened to your father here? 16 years ago. My father left on that exciting trip to Great Britain. I was just a boy. We took a photograph together the day before his departure. It's my last memory of him. What I remember most about my father is his unswerving sense of justice. 6 years after he left, a gentleman called at our family home. He told me that Genshin, my father, had been taken ill in England and passed away. It was Professor Mikotoba, your father, Sato-san. My! Ever since then, the professor was very good to me. He even helped to fund my university education at Yume. I'll be forever in his debt. But nevertheless, I just couldn't bring myself to believe what he told me. Oh! Then one day, a letter arrived at our house from Bryn. There was no indication of the sender, so I opened assuming it was from an old acquaintance of my father. When What I read in that letter changed my entire life. What did it say? It said that my father had been a mass murderer, and the writer cursed the Asogi name. Oh no! As a result of that letter, I found out what had been hidden from me all those years. What? Who cursed the Asogi name? It can't have been Von Zeeks. It couldn't have been Barak. Letter from Britain. Presumably the letter was sent from a relative of one of the victims. If whoever it was had been a member of the judiciary, he could have been present at the closed trial. The letter revealed that my father had been sentenced to death, executed for being a killer. So he knew the truth a while ago. I'm so sorry you had to find out that way. I imagine the British government did its very best to silence whoever sent that letter. Someone who knew the truth and couldn't bear the resentment was always going to be a problem. But still, it could have been written by anyone. Why would you believe such a thing? There was a newspaper cutting included with the letter. It was the first I'd ever heard of the professor and his terrible killing spree. Well, what did my father have to say about the letter? I couldn't bring myself to show it to him. What? Why not? Because he deliberately concealed the truth from me, telling me my father was taken by a fatal illness. True. Not trusted. That couldn't have been easy for him. And he done it out of consideration for my feelings. Oh, not trusted, but just... he was trying to be nice by not confronting him. So instead, I showed the letter to Judge Goku. Oh. That might have been a mistake. Uh-oh. Ah, to the other visiting student. He faltered for the briefest moments, but then he just laughed the letter off. When that moment, I saw it on his face. He was undeniably shocked, shaken momentarily before recovering his poise. Wow. A year later, my bereaved mother succumbed to the strain of grief, and she too passed away. That's when I made up my mind. That one day, without fail, I would cross the seas to Britain and seek the truth for myself. The truth about my father, Genshin Asogi. And I wouldn't let anyone stand in my way. Kazuma-sama? Damn. He had the dream. He had the drive. The Reaper's trial now. What we learned today in court turned things completely on their head. It was an impressive piece of lawyering. Ryunosuke Naruhodo. One of Zeeks isn't the Reaper, you know. I almost don't want to believe it myself, but it turns out that Inspector Gregson himself, the victim, was... It's clear the Inspector was behind the Reaper's activity all along. What? You mean you knew? The real question is, who's been giving orders to the Inspector? Oh! Yes, Eric Von Zeeks is a real Reaper. Oh, that's what he thinks. And I know that 10 years ago, it was him. He decided my father must be a mass murderer and sent him to his grave. No, he was merely seeing that justice was done as the law dictates. He's not to blame. Ultimately, it's people who condemn people. The law is just a tool that they use to do it. Sheesh! And when man condemns another, he must take responsibility for his actions. Of course he must. But I know for certain that my father would never take another man's life. Kazuma, on the contrary, my father's life was taken by the Reaper. Jeez. This prosecutor should discuss evidence in the courtroom. So there's gonna be more stuff to talk about, clearly. Yeah. I guess we'll come back for now. Alright, so all that's really left is Fresno Street. See if there's anything in here, and then we can talk to Mr. Vigil. There are details of cases stretching back over 10 years on this notice board. Yes, a history of Lord Zeke's defeats in court. I don't think that's an appropriate description. Although, when you consider everything on the board, it's certainly true that all these people had a background of dubious dealings. And in the end, of course, the board itself concealed the inspector's own death. My, it really doesn't bear thinking about. The photograph of Mrs. Vigil. Realizing the identity of his lady was a very great clue to exposing Mr. Gonzalez's true identity. He obviously loves his wife very dearly. Which is why he felt he couldn't tell her the truth. The transformation was incredible, wasn't it? Just on that big twisted lip. Yes, he went to extraordinary efforts to play the part of Hugh Boone convincingly. Although, it didn't really seem like it was much of an effort to me. Now you say it, I have to agree. It's almost as if that was Mr. Vigil's true character. People really are very hard to fathom at times. Kinda! Aw, it's okay, Naomi. Pat pat. Oop. I never imagined that this little figurine would turn out to be a watch winding key. I suppose it's a policeman because the pocket watch was a gift from Scotland Yard? It seems there was much more to Inspector Gregson than we ever realized. He was clearly a brilliant man. It's the fish and chips that threw us off. I feel as though it ruined his image. I really don't think we should blame one of Bryn's staple cuisines. But think about it. Imagine if it was Mr. Sholmes. How would you feel if instead of that old briar pipe that's always in his hand, Mr. Sholmes had a bag of chips? Good question. Rather disappointed if I'm honest. Yup, exactly. This revolver, just who does it belong to? Well, we know it's of the type issued to members of the police force and judiciary. Gregson's own gun was found on his person. And of course, Lord Zeke's had admitted to losing the firearm with which he was issued. Such absent-mindedness, not dissimilar to you, Mr. Naruhodo. Wow! I'm starting to think the cold, hard prosecutor and I could become friends after all. I wish you every success. Not the right way. Catches your eye as soon as you enter the room, doesn't it? It's such a bright color, it certainly makes an impression, yes. They can't possibly commit any crimes, can they? I mean, redheads stand out like a sore thumb. I'm afraid they're jet-black Japanese here. We stand out almost as much here in London. I suppose that's true. You mustn't think of committing any crimes, Sister Naruhodo. I wasn't. Sheesh. If it turns out that Gregson didn't actually die in here at all, why on earth could he have been killed? Well, one way or another, we must find out, for the inspector's sake. You know, you look awfully pale again today, Mr. Naruhodo. Sorry, when I start thinking it all through, I conjure up some horrible images in my mind. Understandable. Your imagination is the culprit here then. Well, certainly guilty. And the candelabra. Using candle as a timer device. Very ingenious, I must say. Yes, the culprit arranged this with the firecracker we set off at 5 o'clock and then left. So that a loud bang was heard at precisely the moment Lord Zeke's arrived, yes. only hadn't picked up that gun from the floor. Something you probably told yourself once upon a time, I imagine? Yes, I've learned that lesson by bitter experience. I would have turned and run a mile for sure. Which may not have done you any favors either. Is that it? Nothing new. Oh well. Yeah, nothing new. I guess maybe we can go now? Back to Saint Sinners. This is the word where Mr. Vigil was brought, apparently. To be frank, I'm a little worried about seeing him again. Hey. Ah. The lawyer. Hello again. Are you feeling better now, Mr. Vigil? Yes, thank you. Somewhat better. I'm so sorry that caused you to... I mean, it was all because of me. If I exposed your secret and forced you to remember things you obviously tried to forget... Oh. The prosecutor was here until a few moments ago, too. We just missed him. Oh! Cosmo beat us to it. He said much the same as you. He was very apologetic. But the truth is, I brought all this upon myself. Please, don't think like that. Keeping it from Evie, my wife, all these years, I've carried such a sense of guilt. But that's not the worst of it. Over time, I obviously came to deceive myself as well. You mean about your dismissal? Looking back now, I'm beginning to think that perhaps Inspector Gregson didn't stumble across me by accident at all. I mean, he compensated me so generously for acting as a stand-in. He was clearly concerned for my well-being and doing what he could to help. Hence, Gregson knew exactly what had become of Mr. Vigil all along then. I'm sure this is just desserts for 10 years of lies and deception, but... It wasn't me that helped our professor escape 10 years ago. It wasn't me. I swear it. I swear it's true. Oh, Mr. Vigil. I'm sure you'd rather not dredge up even more from your past at this time, but if possible, could you tell us exactly what really happened? I want to. I need to get all this off my chest. I just want someone to tell me what I should have done. Oh, poor boy. This note's caught my eye before, actually. I suppose it's some sort of slogan for the ward? A cheerful welcome message, perhaps? Let's see. Pay with good cheer, leave with good cheer. Look at that! Your spot on, Miss Sato, is full of cheer. I wonder how many discharged patients pay their medical bills with good cheer, though. Once I had to have a very painful injection when I felt ill with a cold. I felt awful already. So why did I have to suffer the sting of the injection as well as the bill? I yelled at the door. I yelled at the doctor. Whoops. Dear, what terrible treatment. Yikers. There are all sorts of medicines in this cabinet. Look. I'm not sure if it's safe leaving them in reach of everyone like this. Yes, you're right. I can imagine if you were peckish, you might try some of the pills. Well, at least there seems to be a little lock to secure the cabinet doors. I don't imagine that would stop you if you're hungry. I'm worried that you break the lock. Hunger doesn't turn me into a criminal, you know, Mrs. Sano. How do you know? These must be the patient's treatment notes. Let's see. Tendency to jump from windows. Remember to place cushion at base of wall outside. Wow! Aren't we a story up from the ground here? Oh dear. Poor Mr. Vigil. Can't help feeling that there's a better solution to the problem than cushion, though. Finding something you'd lost isn't always a happy experience, it turns out. Pursuing the truth can be a very dark mist sometimes, can't it? Yes, I'm afraid it can. More medicines. There are lots of bottles in the cabinet there, aren't there? Do you think it's safe to keep them there? If you were Peach in here, I feel sure you'd take some medicine by mistake when you were half asleep. That is a worry. But at least the cabinet has a lock, even if it's only a flimsy looking one. Oh, I don't doubt you'd manage to unlock that somehow while you were half asleep as well. There are limits even to what I can do when I'm half asleep, you know, Mrs. Sato. Ah, patient treatment notes. What did these say, I wonder? Endlessly obliging. Suppose that's referring to the patient in this bed? I would think so. Until Mr. Vigil is a little more stable. It's probably just as well that he has a kindly person in the neighboring bed. The endlessly part is a little worrying though, isn't it? I mean, what if Mr. Vigil suddenly declared that he'd like to take a trip out of the window? Would this endlessly obliging patient simply open it for him and say, "Be my guest"? That's not bad logic. Let's check with the doctor later. Oh. Ah, look, a pair of crutches. When I came to Bryn, I hadn't realized they were used here as well. I imagine they were imported into Japan from Great Britain in the first place. Oh, so no one in all of Japan broke a leg before their arrival? Anyways, the sight of these things doesn't bring back good memories for me. Oh dear, did you injure yourself once and need to use some? When I was little, I thought they looked fun, so I borrowed a pair to play with. But then I slipped and sprained my ankle. Oh jeez. You're a mess like me. I see. These contain powerful magic, those wooden staffs. The power to heal and the power to harm. I think a certain cheeky little boy managed to cause the harm all by himself. Oh my goodness. Okay. So Gregson's request, let's start with that. Oh, excuse me. Inspector Gregson was obviously engaged in a special operation of some sort. He was investigating something the unscotty Yard couldn't know about. Details of the Reaper's marks, yes. It was when he had to carry out those investigations that I would take his identification and impersonate him. He'd pretend to the inspector and carry out investigations on his behalf? Oh no, never! A street peddler couldn't possibly carry out a proper police investigation. All I would do is go to the specified location and make a little hoo-ha. Just something to leave an impression, so everyone there would think a detective called Gregson was here. So that's what you were doing on the day prior to the incident? Yes, he asked me to make an appearance at the park on Lion Street for the Red-Headed League event. Oh, as usual, I flashed the inspector's identification around and was very vocal about my presence. But then you were taken prisoner by those red-headed frosters. Yes. So you would always make a point of showing Gregson's ID and generally being loud? That's what the inspector asked me to do, yes. That's one way of becoming a legendary detective, I suppose. Not a good one, though. And as you know, I suffered this bruising around my neck at their hands. But the following day, they kept their word and released me. Without returning the inspector's identification to you, however. We arranged to meet in the Fresno Street room at 5 that day so I could report back to the inspector. At the agreed time, that's when I heard the gunshot. Ah, so they were going to meet regardless. And that's why someone timed it at 5. So the prison escape. It was at midnight on June 17th, 10 years ago. that was the time schedule for the execution. The professor's execution never actually took place, did it? Or rather, the execution itself must have been used to effect the plan of escape. I hardly dare to imagine what a chilling plan it was. Barclay was renowned for being the highest security prison in the country. Everything that went in or out of the place was searched multiple times. But there's one notable exception. Or rather, one notable loophole. Something that was never questioned. I have a feeling I know what that loophole was now. The coffins into which the bodies of the executed convicts were placed, correct? Yes. Once the coroner had confirmed the death of a condemned convict, the body was taken in its coffin for immediate burial in Lowgate Cemetery just behind the prison. The chief warder first had to sign the necessary papers. And after that, no member of staff was permitted to touch the coffin containing the body again. When executions took place, only the executioner and the coroner were permitted inside the chamber. I would wait in the adjacent room for word that the condemned convict was dead. On that occasion, once I had that confirmation, I went to the mortuary to find a lone coffin as usual. Sorry, I am tired from jumping out of windows all day. The procedure was that I would sign the paperwork and we check the coffin, then nail it shut. But for some reason that day, the coffin was already nailed shut. Huh. No! I didn't think anything of it at the time. I assumed that my deputy must have checked the coffin and nailed it shut before I arrived. So you mean the coffin contained... Yes, I can only imagine that Sogi, having escaped his execution somehow, was alive inside the coffin. The coffin was then taken out through the main gates and deposited in Lowgate Cemetery. Presumably there wouldn't have been enough air inside to breathe for long. So in the early hours following the burial, somebody dug up the coffin again to set Genshin free. But in the end, he was fatally shot in the graveyard anyway. What on earth really happened in Lowgate Cemetery that night, I wonder? I'm afraid I really don't know. All I could say with certainty are two things. Soki couldn't possibly have escaped that way without help from somebody working in the prison. And that somebody was not me. But then he was just, well, he was kind of a scapegoat in a sense. I don't know then. Interesting. Alright, the convict Asogi. Obviously you knew the man then? The professor, I mean. Genshin Asogi. Yes, I remember him well, in fact. Would you mind telling us what you know? Well, I haven't been condemned to death as he was. Any contact I had with the man was short, obviously. After that trial, which was carried out behind closed doors, attended only by elite members of the judiciary, they called for his execution to be carried out at the earliest possible opportunity. The outcome of the trial was set from the beginning, wasn't it? It was a time of delicate diplomacy when Britain and Japan were in the process of signing an important treaty. That meant that this potentially destabilizing case had to be dealt with swiftly and discreetly. The man had less than a week in total. As I was the chief warder, I oversaw his short stay in the cells until his final hour. I remember being struck deeply by his noble character and incredible resilience. What do you mean exactly? He was a killer of many men, but he was always quiet and polite. He's a gentleman, and a man of intellect. In fact, I couldn't bring myself to believe what he'd done, so I asked him one day. Those 5 members of the aristocracy whose lives were taken Are you really responsible? I'm guilty of the unforgivable crime of ending another human's life, yes. Did he... Did he end up killing one of the people that tried to kill Barak? The following day, the closed trial took place, and the verdict was no surprise. Guilty. That night, when he was brought back to his cell, I saw something. Something unusual. Something unusual? What? The last will and testament of Genshin Asogi. Can we see the will? As I said, I was on the night following this trial after he'd been found guilty. I was doing the rounds of the cells, and when I looked into Asogi's, I noticed that he seemed to have a sheet of paper in his hand. Ah, his last will and testament then, presumably. As soon as he noticed me, he hurriedly shoved it behind his back. But why did you find that so unusual? Is it normal for a man to pen a will when he knows his death is nigh? Yes, that's true, but there were special conditions to Asogi's incarceration, you see. What sort of conditions? Well, even though he was held in a cell designed for condemned inmates, he was allowed to keep his personal effects with him, with one exception. Really? He was allowed his things? Huh. How is he allowed to keep everything? It's unusual, certainly. Of course, he'd been convicted of killing 5 members of the aristocracy. But at the same time, he was a guest in our country from the Empire of Japan. The powers that be were determined that his final days shouldn't be needlessly uncomfortable. Huh. And what was the exception you mentioned to the personal effects he was allowed? That's the point. It wasn't permitted to have writing materials. What? Specifically, no pens or paper. So, he was prevented from leaving any written record of what had happened to him. Yes, that was the long and the short of it. No idea where he obtained that paper. Any writing materials would have been confiscated from him upon his incarceration. As I said, he had the paper behind his back and then he pleaded with me. Huh. Why didn't you just hide behind your back? Please turn a blind eye. This is my lifeline. But you know it's against the rules. You're the only person who's seen. You just agreed to keep quiet. Alright then, but what's on that paper? My last will and testament. This will is the only weapon I have left now. Only weapon? How can a will be a weapon? Oh. Did Genshin write those names down? Interesting. So I decided to pretend I'd seen nothing, and I let him keep his will. But then later, it just seemed to vanish without trace. What? What do you mean it vanished? It would seem that isn't the end of the story in this mysterious will. Someone took the will away. I was the only person who saw Sogi's will, but somehow it disappeared. And it was after Sogi's execution, which was actually an elaborate jailbreak. The warders gathered up Asogi's possessions that were in his cell. They were all to be sent back to his family home in Japan, you see. Poor Kazuma-sama. And you're saying that it wasn't anywhere to be found among his personal effects? The will, I mean. That's right. I didn't search through them myself. But Governor Caden was livid. He was screaming. It can't have disappeared completely. That doesn't quite make sense though, does it? In what way? Well, I've understood that only Mr. Vigil is aware of the will's existence. In which case, how did the prison governor know to look for it? Oh! Interesting. Yes, you're right. I really don't know how he knew. It certainly seemed as though he knew of the will's existence from the outset. He need to refer to it as a will. What he said was... the Asogi Papers. What? The Asogi Papers? I really can't tell you anything of the subsequent events. Because, well, of what happened. Your dismissal and the way you blocked it all from your memory. I had forgotten all this until today. Was it relevant to the case, though? Well, anyway, thank you very much for sharing it with us, Mr. Vigil. We're very grateful. Interesting. There's so much we're learning already. What the fuck? Help! Too much info. I'm afraid there's really little more I can tell you. My wife Evie will be here shortly, so I do hope I don't appear rude, but... No, none at all. Thank you again. But what will become of you now? Well, impersonating a police officer is a criminal offense, of course. Imagine that once I'm fully recovered, I shall be arrested. Oh, I'm so sorry. Don't be, please. This was all my own doing. I always knew that this day would come. Well, I wish you well. Goodbye, Mr. Vigil. Damn. Ah! Before you go, there's just one thing. Oh, yes? What is it? The Asogi Papers. You just remembered something? I'd be very grateful if you'd make no mention of the things I told you about them. Presumably for some good reason? It's my understanding that their very existence is a closely guarded secret. If it became known that I'd remembered, well, it could be rather troublesome, I think. I understand. Ah. He worried, he might be a target if he knows about it. Some sort of will that Genshin Asogi penned just before his death, which the man himself claimed was his last weapon. I wonder, perhaps it had something to do with his plan to escape. If there's anyone who might know more about document the Cosmo's father left behind. Hey, Mr. Vigil's governor! Mr. Vigil's governor! Then we know precisely where we must go. Back to Barclay Prison. Ah. Well, at least he seems to be on the mend. You know, his disguise as Mr. Gossip was really quite masterful, wasn't it? I can't remember anything about it except for the floppy lip. I imagine that his wife would have recognized him. Perhaps, but did he really have to take it quite so far? Okay. So now we can finally go back to the prisoner's office. So probably you can't do anything with Cosmo just yet. Like, Cosmo's probably the last thing I needed to do. It seems somebody knew more than they're letting on. Oh, back again, are ya? Yes, hello. I've heard of all your investigations. I've read the report just now. You found him, eh? Vigil. Yes, luckily. Well, anywho, the laddie doesn't work here no more. So your case has not to do with Barclay. Boy, they like y'all get the wrong idea about that. Of course, yes. Mr. Vigil stopped working here 10 years ago now, so... Yes, we've seen his dismissal notice, haven't we? He was given the chop. Aye, Kimmer, you can very well. So, how about a wee handcuff biscuit? Oh, they really are like little handcuffs. It is hard irons, too. So, what brought you doing here to the day? Well, there's something else we'd like to ask you about, actually. Is that so? May you believe there might have been a document that disappeared from Genshin Asogi's cell? I think it's been called the Asogi Papers or something. Uh-oh. Did I no say? Greg's death is not to do with things that might have happened to Barclay. Leave the past to the past, laddie. Let's not fool about a boot with irrelevant details. Situation's changed completely. We're clearly onto something here. He's trying to distract. Alright, can we look at everything again? Nope. Nothing. Alright, 10-year-old legacy. That murderous botched execution and whole miserable escape. They are Barclay's darkest hour, i.e. shock and embarrassment. Because the convict had a collaborator on the prison staff, you mean? Aye, for shame. The coroner who confirmed the death of the man after his execution, Courtney Scythe. My chief warder at the time, Vigil, who was in charge of the whole affair. Mr. Vigil says he didn't know anything about it. The rascal wouldn't say otherwise, eh? Or handcuffs. Oh, what can I say no? You can never have too much iron in your diet. In a literal sense. Mr. Vigil was handed his dismissal notice as a result of what had happened. He was so despairing he jumped out of your office window, didn't he? I didn't like to say, but that's just Vigil trying to get out of it. Do you not think when they jumped from the shock of his crimes being exposed, eh? I do. You may say otherwise, though, would you? Of course, I can shun no responsibility myself. I shouldn't have left him to see me. Actually, there's barely anybody that Kins went with at the time now. Gregson haven't been murdered, the doctor says forbidden from having any visitors. No visitors? Someone obviously doesn't want her giving anything away. Interesting. Well, I'm not going to come empty-handed. Now, when the Gleamer sent you packing with dirt, Kimmer, here, take a handcuff or two. Oh, well, it'll be rude to say no. When it may become anemic. Jeez, I suppose if there's anybody who might still keen about what happened back then, it'd be that last from the forensic division, Maria Gori. Maria Gori? I see its daughter. She didn't have no more, just the one. But the wee bairns followed in her mom's footsteps. You didn't ever see her with a skipple in her hand. Ah! Oh god, the crazy girl who wanted to experiment on me. Mama, what is this? Ah, where did she spring from? And did you just call the doctor Mama? Dr. Scythe's daughter, Maria Gori. We could do with talking to her. Oh my god. We're just sent on so many places. I thought I was going to be close to done, but there's clearly a lot more to know. Alright, tell me about Gori. So, she's Dr. Scythe's daughter, but her surname is Gori? Aye, there's some family history, I'm sure, but I didn't get into the ins and outs of it. She grew up watching them working with bodies of folks who died in strange circumstances, and decided to do the same with her own life. I can understand it myself. Perhaps she was driven by a deep respect for her mother? Perhaps. Anywho, she was in charge of Gregson's autopsy, I believe. Right, and the coroner responsible for this incomplete report. Ah, okay, so that might give us an answer. Someone told me once that the wee lassie always loved her mom's stories about cutting up bodies. There's even a rumor that she used to listen to the funeral march as a lullaby. Well, then perhaps her mother might have told her about the autopsy for the case 10 years ago. I'd say there's a fighting chance at least. After all, that was a life-changing case for all of us. I think really you speak to Miss Gory herself about this, I think. Well, thank you very much. I'm no happy about any part of this. It took years for Londoners to finally forget the whole professor business. Can you give up on this, Nutty? Stop asking pointless questions. I'm sorry. I don't like dredging up these painful memories for everyone. Can you just stay away, no? Can you just stay away, no? Leave me alone and didn't come back here, eh? Nope, we gotta talk about these Sogi papers. How do you come to thinking about that, laddie? There's no many folk even here in the prison who've heard of those papers. Ah, well, I can't tell him Mr. Vigil told me. I'm afraid our sources must remain confidential, sir. We've been led to believe the papers are actually a last will and testament, is that right? Professors, or rather, Genshin Asogi's? Aye, that's right. You're well informed, Jimmy. Oh, is that the end of the silent treatment? But then after the comic's execution, it mysteriously vanished from his cell, didn't it? Avers, no. You're off the cock there. I think you need to get your facts straight. It was there in the cell, exactly where it should have been. Oh, not what we heard elsewhere. Let me just have a wee hook around in here. I'm sure I can find it. I hear ye, See? The last will and testament of Genshin Asogi, written with a calligraphy brush. Of course it can be read with the Japanese squiggles. But I mind it says he leaves all his worldly possessions to his son back in his homeland. Yes, that's correct. That's the gist of it. So these are the Asogi papers? Aye, of course they are. Papers written by Asogi, ain't that to put it. There's a mystery here, laddie. That's your lot. For all this, John showed that sliced her in execution. We sent the man's possessions back to his clan in Japan. That was the end of it. I think we ought to make a record of this, Mr. Naruhodo, just in case. The only weapon I have left, yeah. One thing before you go on your way, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, yes? Those papers are not to do with Gretzky's deaths. I would prefer it if you didn't have to make no mention of them outside this office. Or rather, I would need just prefer it. Consider it an order from the highest levels of our government. I understand. Oh, we're in trouble if we say anything. Let's take a look at that. I, Genshin Asogi, hereby request that upon my death, any and all material possessions of wealth belonging to me in London be delivered to my son, Kazuma Asogi, in the Empire of Japan. It was with deep sadness that I accept my fate in this foreign land, in the knowledge that I will never see my homeland or family again. I regret nothing about my chosen path. Huh. That's... why would it be a weapon? Like, to motivate... Oh, I can present the papers to Kazuma. No? Where do I go? Or maybe I need to present something I have here? Well, I guess we'll see. Oh, the Reaper. At last I get to take my revenge. Kazuma, Wolfen seeks isn't responsible for your father's death, and he's not the Reaper. He's the defendant and deserving of a fair trial. You mean, like the one my father had? Oh. It's a close trial now, too. The conditions are exactly as they were 10 years ago. And even if it ruffles some feathers, I have a plan to show that man for what he really is. Kazuma... Some little flavor text there, I see. No? It's gotta be something. Oh, same thing. Oh, it's just depression. It's just draining it. Oh. Big hugs, Naomi. Love you too. Hope you feel better. Big hugs. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, this came up in the trial, didn't it? As something a little dubious, I mean. The fact that no time of death was recorded on Inspector Gregson's autopsy report. Yeah, all the hugs for you. Yes, there was some unexpected turns to the courtroom earlier. The suggestion you came up with certainly took everyone by surprise. The idea that the victim died the previous day at some other location is quite something. Well, considering when the pocket watch had stopped and the scorch marks on the candle, it's certainly a distinct possibility. The evidence in the scene both point to it. To be honest, it bothered me too. I paid a visit to the autopsy room earlier. The coroner responsible wasn't there, but I got a name. Dr. Gory. If it wouldn't trouble you, Kazuma-sama, I'd very much like to speak with the coroner too. Of course. The last thing I want is for anything to be brushed under the carpet. Scotland Yard's autopsy lab is behind Lowgate Cemetery. Lowgate Cemetery? By Barclay Prison, you mean? Ah, you know it, do you? The prison where my father was incarcerated and robbed of his life. Kazuma-sama? Well, thank you. We'll pay a visit to the lab later today. Ah, okay. I need that. Inosuke, I want to thank you. What for? For this. Aww. You safeguarded the soul of the Sogi clan. Well, it is a famous sword that's been in your family for generations. My only slight regret is I never got the chance to draw it before I returned it to you. Karuma is said to have been forged by a master swordsman during the Sengoku Warring States period. I come from a long lineage of warriors, many of whom were expert swordsmen. Well then, you're a chip off the old block, I'd say. This blade, Karuma, it's a symbol of the Sogi clan's honor and might. Apparently, one of my father's apprentices even took the blade's name for a surname. Really? Karuma? Does sound formidable, that's for sure. 16 years ago, when my father was a visiting student here in London, he had this sword forever at his side. Which is why it means so much to me that I have it by my side again now, too. And that is all thanks to you. It was an honor. Aww. That was a good way to end the conversation. Now, I have preparations to make for tomorrow. Perhaps I said a little too much. Kazuma, you've changed. No, Ryunosuke, I haven't changed at all. It's you who's changed. Oh? I can completely understand your resentment of Lord Von Zeke's given what happened. Fact is, those events in this case are, well, unrelated? Is that what you want to say? How can you be so sure? What do you mean? Never mind. That man is the Reaper, and it's for that reason that the Inspector was killed. I'm going to prove as much in court tomorrow, by whatever means necessary. I can't let you do that, Kazuma. I know you'll do what you have to as a lawyer, but I'm sure I don't need to tell you. I won't be taking any prisoners in the courtroom. I'll expect nothing less. Till tomorrow then, in the Old Bailey. Alright. Now I can go to the forensics lab. Alright, Dr. Gory. You know, gore. Haha. This'll be fun. This place really is creepy, isn't it? Well... Hi, Kai. How you doing? Being a dead room, it's probably full of the spirits of the dissected. But actually, there's a rather pleasing scent of roses in the air. Well, being a dead room... The coroner probably needs a bold scent like that to mask the odor of death. Oh, jeez. You have to say it so simply like that. I'm doing good. Little eepy. Lots of information coming out. It's been a wild, lots of revelations. Iris? Do you think we could change the subject? Look at her. She's like, yes? But did I do something wrong? Oh. What was that? Oh. Dr. Gory? Oh. What? That noise before. I was sharpening my tools. I'd be dead meat if I didn't keep a perfectly keen edge on them. Right. When following the collagen fibers in the dermis, an expertly sharpened scalpel. Cuts like cheese. Would you like a demonstration? Oh yes, please. I'd love to see. Then, I think you'll do nicely. Huh? No, I wouldn't do nicely at all. Oh my gosh, she's gonna try to kill me. I mean, maybe some other time. Was that Tut? Well, we came here to ask questions, so... She's gonna chop me up. Help. A table and a set of sharp tools. When you consider each in isolation, all is quite innocent. So why is it that when you put them side by side, they seem so horribly disturbing? Oh, excuse me. It might be best not to ponder it too deeply. That's Mama's dissection table. It's too high for me, though. It is? If I fell from that height in my sleep, it would really hurt. What? You mean you sleep in here? Autopsy work is very involved. It's usually too late to think about going home when I'm finished. But I have bad dreams when I sleep here, and I always end up falling onto the floor. So I'd like to exchange that table for a lower one. Maybe you should just go home. Yeah, you think? I think that would help you so much. Those large jars seem to have pale things floating around inside them. So they're fruit liquors or something. Or like the pickled, umaboshi plums we make back home. Yes, let's assume there's something completely innocent like that. Ah, that jar you're looking at up there contains monkey brains. Oh my. Their composition is similar to the human brain, so they make for interesting study material. Why monkey brains of all things? Ah, posture check. Oh my goodness. Out there. I guess I adjust my booty. On shrimp. Honestly, I'm not even shrimping. I'm laying down the whole time. You can't tell. But that's my most comfortable position. Because I don't have a chair. The composition is similar to the... Oh, I read that. And in the next jar along, we have monkey... No. No more monkey anythings. Please. If you say so. Oh dear. The time when I was still thought it was just some pickled umeboshi plums seems so long ago already. We found out the truth. Look at all that bottles on the shelves in the cabinets. What an assortment of chemicals. These ones here are labeled highly toxic. That's worrying. Because there are also things that look like salt and pepper shakers in there. Oh yes, and they actually say salt and pepper on them. The doctor probably spends a lot of time in this room, I suppose. Perhaps she has meals here sometimes. Life goes on even when you're surrounded by death. I couldn't eat in here, that's wild. Oops, wrong one. Ah! This looks different to before. Of course, this Naruhodo is crazy young maiden. She has all sorts of charming little dolls and the like around her place of work. Look! Oh yes, you're right. Perhaps she's not so strange after all. They're how I practice. Sorry? Mama always says that operations and dissections require speed and accuracy. So I take out my needle and thread and stitch 3 new dolls every day. Oh, right. I used to make livers or kidneys or intestines. Mama told me to make something more friendly instead. Okay then. That is, something, I suppose? So weird. That's quite different to what I'd imagined. A little, yes. I think all that's left is the skeleton. Well, look at this. What a magnificent display case. The cherry wood has been polished to a high sheen, and the intricate carvings is enjoyable to hold. Western cabinet makers really are fairly skilled, aren't they? It's 10 people. Pardon? It's made from the bones of 10 different people, all mixed together. Oh, some of it best work. I did not need to know that. I was admiring the case, actually. The scary skeleton inside is something I tend to ignore as best I can. Oh. You're strange. I wonder who is the strangest. Damn! That looks like an owl and a crow up there. I know, and they haven't eaten Twitch since we came in here. Well, no, they wouldn't have. The taxidermy mounts, Mr. Naruhodo. I was afraid you were going to say that. I've been trying very hard to tell myself they're just sleeping with their eyes open. Yes, I think perhaps you were wise to put something like your Daruma doll on display in the office instead. It's much better, yes. Alright, that's it. We can finally talk and be scared. Time of death. Yeah, we need to know. We have actually met before. I'm a lawyer, if you remember. You're not dead yet. What? So Mama said I wasn't to cut you open. She's so strict about things like that. Well, good. Dr. Scythe has some scruples at least. Oh dear. It looks like she's not interested in talking to us. For the time being, anyway. For the time being? You mean until we die? I hope that's a way off. I think she's gonna try to kill me. Sorry, but I wasn't planning on dying anytime soon. Surely there's some less drastic way of making her listen. Okay. Show the picture? About this photograph, Dr. Gory. Who's that? Sorry. It's Inspector Gresham, of course, the victim of the case. Ah, I see. I don't remember the faces. Internal organs, muscle tissue, bone trauma. Those are things I remember. Well, please try to also remember that I don't want to know anything about all of that. Nope, it wasn't enough. So the autopsy report? Great, we actually came here to ask you about this. He was very good. Good, sorry. His skin didn't snag my blade once, and very little mess. His joints dislocated easily, and his muscle tissue was a pleasure to work with. Uh-oh, we can skip those details. I don't need to know any of that. But there is one thing about the report that's caught my attention. You don't seem to have recorded the time of death. Oh! That's not my fault? Oh, that made me jump. Then please tell us what happened. Oh, okay. So why doesn't this autopsy report include the victim's time of death then? It's really the most crucial detail. I was told not to write it. What? By whom? Mail Strongheart, the Lord Chief Justice. He came here. Wait, Strongheart said not to write the time of death? Strongheart came? He said that from the witness statements about the gunshot and the other evidence, it was obvious. The man clearly died at 5 p.m. on 1st November, when the gunshot was heard. But that's not the time of death he wrote on the report. He didn't write anything. Was there some reason he didn't include it? Dr. Gory, if you're hiding something under Lord Strongheart's instructions, then sooner or later, you're going to go the same way as your mother. Ooh. Give it here then. What's she scribbling so furiously? There. You've written... What? What she's written? Tell us! Indeterminate. But... The details on the autopsy report have been updated. According to the coroner, Dr. Gory, an accurate estimation of the time of death is not possible. How? Indeterminate? What do you mean? What do you mean by that? Why was the time of death indeterminate? When the specimen was brought in, it was still fresh. So the time of death could easily have coincided with when the gunshot was heard. But there was one small discrepancy. What discrepancy? There was some fried fish in the pocket of the specimen's overcoat. And that fish started to rot. What? The victim liked fried fish. He presumably liked to eat it before it went off. Well, yes. What are you really trying to say? It's possible that someone tried to manipulate the apparent time of death. Manipulate the... Is that even possible to do? Theoretically, if you were to chill the body in ice, you could delay the onset of putrefaction. And if the overcoat wasn't on the body at the time, then only the fish would have started to rot. But today's science, it's not yet possible to determine if the body was chilled or not. Today's science is advanced enough to let you freeze a corpse, it seems. Ah. So, time manipulation, I say. But surely, to chill a corpse like that would require an enormous electrical refrigerator. I don't imagine many households in London are equipped with such a device. No, definitely not. But maybe in a factory? Or some other special places? I don't recall seeing any factories or such like on Fresno Street, though. I wonder if the inspector's body had been chilled somehow. What might the actual time of death have been? I couldn't say for sure. But at the most, it might have been the day earlier. No! In other words, it will corroborate your previous deduction, Mr. Naruhodo. Then Inspector Gregson was killed the day before his body was discovered, at a different location. Did you inform Lord Strongheart of this possibility? He simply said that there were no electrical refrigerators of that size in the vicinity. Oh, I see. Oh yes, one other thing. It's something the governor of Barclay Prison told us. He said that your mother, Dr. Seif, was responsible for confirming the death of the professor after its execution. The professor? Apparently you always enjoyed listening to your mother's stories about her work, so we were wondering if you might know something about what happened 10 years ago? Do you? That's not all Mama did. Sorry? My Mama carried out the autopsy of Clint von Zieks as well. Oh, really? The brother of Lord von Zieks, the professor's final victim. The idea of carrying an autopsy on a member of the aristocracy was completely unthinkable back then. But the detective in charge of the investigation insisted it was miraculously authorized. A detective being Inspector Gregson, of course. Quite an accomplishment for one man. That autopsy provided the vital clue needed to arrest the killer. And Mama was there for the historic event. What does all this mean? You know, that amazing autopsy happened right here in this very room. Professor and Clint von Zieks. They both spent their final moments before their burial at this dissection table there. So this lab, Mama's lab, is instrumental in some of the country's most important events. She really is proud of her mother. Nothing wrong with that. I wonder if you tell us more about exactly what happened back then, Dr. Gory. Oh? You gonna talk? Ooh, the confirmation of death. Okay. The professor's execution was Mama's first big case. She had to be in attendance at Barclay Prison's execution chamber and signed a certificate to confirm the convict's death. Mama was the best coroner in the world, you know. I was so proud of her. The execution didn't actually take place. No, and worse still, Mama actually helped with the jailbreak. I didn't want to know. Oh dear, you found out recently, you mean? I believed in her, in Mama. But now I wonder if I'm staring down the same path as her. You mean because you omitted the time of death on this autopsy report? But that's because Lord Strongheart forbade you from including it. Just like Mama, I'm sure she was cornered by somebody too. Oh, yes, that's my feeling as well. There's no doubt that there were powerful forces at play 10 years ago. The execution could have been staged without a lot of people at the prison knowing about it. Obviously, the prison governor must have been in on it as well. The big man with the little handcuffs? According to what he told us, he was tricked by the chief warder. He says he knew nothing about it. Of course he said that. I'd say the same thing. Just who was behind the jailbreak all those years ago? Yeah. So much mystery around it now. What about Clint's autopsy? You mentioned the autopsy of Clint Von Zeeks. It's at a time when carrying out autopsies of murder victims was very unusual. It's still not practiced as observed in our country even now. It turned out that he was the professor's final victim, and when the autopsy was performed, Papa was present, though only as a secondary assistant. Someone in the procedure was called Dr. John H. Wilson. That's right, my daddy! And there was one other person present, the primary assistant. He was a visiting student from the Far East. Wait, a visiting student? It must have been my father, Eugene Mikotoba. No idea Professor Mikotoba involved in something so important. But the outcome of that historic autopsy was the discovery of a vital piece of evidence that led to the capture of the professor. So that's how they came to identify Genshin Asogi as the infamous mass murderer. Do you happen to know anything about that piece of evidence? Tell us any more? Huh. Would you like to see the records for yourself? What would that be alright? What's the point of keeping records if people can't look at them? They're filed under V at the back of those cupboards with the other records from the last decade. Thank you! Let's see. Von Zeeks. That's strange. What, Mr. Naruhodo? They aren't here. There's nothing under Von Zeeks. There must be. Perhaps somebody took them away. No one's allowed to take documents related to the professor case out of this room. But you're right, they're gone. Oh, we gotta... When was the last time somebody looked at them? Do you remember? It was... Oh yes, I remember now. It was 2 years ago. A consulting detective came one day saying that he'd like to see the records. No, you don't mean... Sherlock Sholmes was his name. What? Sholmes? Why did Sholmes take the records? Uh-oh. Deep down, I knew that was coming. Do you think he stole the records? Oh no, surely not. Iris, that can't be right, can it? Iris? Iris? Does she know? Bruno? I hope you don't mind, but... What is it, Iris? I just remembered something very important I have to do. I'm going to have to leave you now. Oh, this is very sudden, Iris. Well, we'll come with you then. Oh no, there's no need. You no can take your time here. Bye for now then. Good luck. Oh. Wait a minute, little girl. Me? I remember now. You've been here before, haven't you? Uh-oh. Have you, Iris? Yes, 2 years ago, when that detective came. You were with him, weren't you? You were a living specimen then, too. That's the way it usually works, yes. Was I? I really don't remember. Did she take it? Anyway, sorry, but I must dash. Wait, Iris. I'll throw a pop for you when you get home. Uh-oh. What's the matter with her? Did she steal the records? And maybe the records have been in that box the whole time? She's behaving really strangely all of a sudden. Well, in that case, we won't keep you any longer either. It's been quite a while since I had any visitors. This was really fun. Next time you come, I'd prefer it if you were ready for dissection. I can't make any promises, sorry. It's a bit strange that the records of Clint Von Zeke's autopsy have disappeared. Yeah, that's a bit of a cover-up, isn't it? I think that's all we came to ask now. Oh, we gotta go to the street room. Interesting. Okay, let's go. Oh, that's new. That box wasn't there before. So they're still busy investigating in here then. Gina's nowhere to be seen. Where is she? Yes, it has been blissfully quiet, hasn't it? Perhaps she's out investigating on her own, practicing what her boss taught her? I don't expect she'll be back for too long. Shall we wait? Sure. Actually, yeah, what's that box? There's something different about this room since the last time we were here, isn't there? We can always use time to investigate more thoroughly. What the heck is this box? This little trunk wasn't here before, was it? Oh, it appears to be made of metal. It must be very heavy. I wonder to whom it belongs. There's some initials on the outside, look. TG? Let's ask one of the policemen if they know how it came to be here. Oi! What do you think you're doing? Hi, Gina. That's Mate Slunk, it is. Hands up! Gina? Where were you hiding? I don't know, you leave something unattended for a few seconds and every Tom Dictionary's got his bleedy eyes on it. Just a wild guess, Gina, but... What did Otto? Is it fair to say that you've only owned that trunk since this morning's trial? What are you trying to say? Come on, this trunk goes with me everywhere. Always as, where have you been the last year? Try not to incur your wrath, mainly. Oh, jeez. Hi, Gina. How about your boss? You should be able to talk into the yard now. You should be ashamed of yourselves. They're saying that it was the boss who killed all them bludgers. Ah, you mean the whole Reaper thing? Yeah. Apparently, the boss was investigating stuff that no one else in the yard knew nothing about. Something to do with all them criminals, but got off scot-free. Yes, the ones prosecuted for Von Zeeks who used bribery and corruption to evade conviction. Well, then obviously, it was the bloomin' Reaper giving the orders, weren't it? But why would people suspecting Inspector Gregson be involved in the killings? There was a notebook in his office. Oh no. This doesn't sound good. It had details about all the crimes that have been pegged as the Reaper's work. What? No. Did you see it, Gina? Did you see that notebook? They wouldn't even let me, because I'm just an apprentice apparently. But it was me who found it. He was my boss. That's right. I don't really admit about it, so let's sneak the peek at what it said anyway. Oh, that's our Gina. Good. That was perfect this time. What did the notebook say? So you managed to see what was written in Gregson's secret notebook anyway, did you? Oh, yeah, I see it. It's my right to read what he wrote. I agree. But what he written, Gina? Dates, times, places, names, an old long list of them. All details about the blood are supposed to have been done in by the Reaper. But there could be an explanation for that. Perhaps it was a record of the inspector's investigations into the Reaper's activities. Exactly! That's what I said! That's the first thing you'd think, right? As it happens, it was full of names I recognized anyway. Well, the Reaper's targets were almost exclusively known leaders of London's criminal underworld. Oh yeah, but there was one name printed to the end that was a bit odd. At the end of the list, you mean? I'm pretty sure the date against it was 31st October. Oh, the day before the inspector was found dead! So, what was the odd name? It wasn't like a name I'd ever seen before. It was something like Um, nah, it's no good. I can't remember it. I don't think it was an English name, put it that way. Oh dear, what a pity. There's something else too. I don't know if it matters, but the same name kept coming up over and over. Shin! It was not supposed to mean something, but... Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Did you say Shin? Eh? What? It just means something? Lord Von Seeks knew the name too. He mentioned her as well. The woman who actually did the deeds. And now we find out her name appeared in Gregson's secret notebook. Uh-oh! Just more evidence that Gregson worked with her. Investigate. We haven't seen you for a little while, have we, Gina? Well, of course not. I've been busy, ain't I? Investigating that? The lads at the yard are trying to trace the boss's moons the day before it happened. The day before? That would be the undercover investigation into the Red-Headed League, then. Really boss didn't go, did he? You found some clue of what was pretending to be him, didn't you, Otto? Yup. Yes, it was Mr. Vigil who actually went to the park on Lime Street that day, posing as Gregson. Well, anyway, he ain't the only one turning stuff up. I got me own ways of getting the results. The puppy! We ever brought the air get together, something we can't track down. Oh, little Toby, he's such a faithful friend. So, have you tracked anything down then? What do you think, Gay? Of course we have. Can't tell you though, police business in it. Anyway, the point is, if you not ever need any help, you know who to turn to, right? We need the yell out here. Right, because he looks oh so hellish, honest. Yeah, tell me about the doggo. Ruff, ruff. Gina, about your hellhound there. Chief Inspector Toby, you mean? He's applied to the force, he is. The Japanese police dog means something quite different and not altogether nice to those involved in crime. But here in Britain, it's a wonderful compliment, it seems, for a canine at least. It should be, after all. In the Great Expedition case the other day, this Toby here managed to locate Drebber's workshop. Maybe it's time for another demonstration of what this stupid dog can do, eh? Do we have something the Chief Inspector could catch the scent of, I wonder? Oh, the revolver!
Take that!
Well, Chief Inspector Toby, if you wouldn't mind having a sniff of this. Chief Inspector said whoop to that, Otto. Yes, I heard. I think perhaps that particular item didn't excite him very much. You got nothing else? I'll have a think. Gina, about your hellhound there? Oh, you want to see another demonstration of this amazing nose, eh? Well, we're trying to trace Inspector Gregson's movements, so... Come on, Otto. What you got for him? Do you have something the Chief Inspector could catch the scent of, I wonder? Maybe the pocket watch?
Take that!
Let's try to you if you wouldn't mind having a sniff of this. Did that work? He might be a little too keen, don't you think? Ah! Oh, jeez. There's gonna be a short work with Gina there. What? Ah, look what he's gone to. Oh my, the trunk clearly still has a very strong scent. Inspector Gregson. In other words, must have belonged to him. Oh, right, it's a fair cop, I suppose. He really got away with it, too. You always talk so proudly of Chief Inspector Toby's nose and what it can achieve. Hi, Guyan. Pet pet. Did it not cross your mind that you might identify something that was right next to us? Yeah, that was a bit of a bloomer, wasn't it? It's enough now then, Gina. Eh? I think it's time you told us the truth about that trunk. Yeah, be truthful. Bitch. It wasn't like that. It just went. What are you talking about? I know what's going through that head of yours. See what happened. Alright then. What did happen? Well, like I said before, we were trying to trace the boss's movements. So I let Dobby and I went for the boss's overcut. And as soon as I done that, it went off like shot. Straight to that sandwich. To a sandwich? Not to a bag of chips? Mr. Naruhodo, Gina met means the witness. Oh, I forgot about that sandwich. Wait. Him? Yeah, they're in between the window boards is the boss's trunk. Oh. You mean when they heard the sound like a gunshot all piled in here? Exactly. No, don't feel Miss Mitch. Exactly, it nabbed it from the scene. Goodness. Me and Chief Inspector gave that sandwich a good grilling, and you know what he said? I thought it might fit a good price, and the shop wouldn't be needed it anymore, so that's all I did, nothing more, nothing less. I mean, the Chicote, stealing the dead boss's stuff to vlog. Wow, stealing from the dead. So Miss Venus wasn't the only one to meddle with the scene of the crime then. Could they? So anyway, that's how it happened. And it's a pretty decent chunk, so I figured I may as well make use of it. Is there something wrong with that day? Well, maybe you and Mr. Sandwich should try to find the answer to that question together. What's in it? I think perhaps the trunk should be turned over to the police, don't you? What do you want about? No! The sandwich is the dog! No, sandwich is the person's name, silly. Dog's Toby. What are you talking about? I am the police. Gina, if you wouldn't mind, can we maybe examine it? Yeah, alright then. Do what you want with it. Thank you. We shall make a detailed record of our examination of the evidence. No toe beans. Toby? What's the matter with Toby? Why is he acting so aggressively towards me all of a sudden? Sir Holo, be careful. It must be the trunk. Ah! Ah! Toby, oi! What are you doing? You're gonna lick his face off! Sir Hodo, Mr. Hodo! Keep it quickly! Hail a carriage! Ow! I have been licked clean. I know, that was practically a FNAF jump scare. Mr. Hodo, are you alright? Miss Susato. Ah, conscious again at last. A blessed relief, my dear fellow. After all, to drop dead after a moderate licking by a small terrier most unseemly. What is or isn't seemly is irrelevant here, Mr. Sholmes. I love that he got tackled like that. Or he just collapsed like that. So glad there's no lasting damage. How are you feeling? I'm fine, thank you. Did you bring me back here? What's this on my head? A bandage? Sadly, we had no ice. So that's a compress of sugar water. Sugar water? Don't worry, Mr. Naruhodo. It's a first aid treatment my father taught me. Oh. Thank you. So, let us take tea when you're feeling upset. But of course, no sugar in the patient's cup. The bump on my head is throbbing sweetly enough, don't worry. Yeah, sugar water. Yes, very sweet. Maybe if you're ready then. Oh wait, ah! Ooh, there's a claw here. Have you seen this huge gash across the side of the trunk here? It's going right through the leather and into the metal behind. Gosh, for a metal chest like this to have been so badly damaged. Wherever the gash must have struck the side of the trunk with considerable force. I wonder how it happened. Oh, there's blood on it! Look at this dark stain here. Do you think... Yes, I'm afraid so. I think it's blood. I knew you were going to say that. So that presumably means that this was present at the scene when Inspector Gregson was killed. So this logical conclusion, yes. I think Gina's been carrying this around with her. If you didn't know any better, I suppose it does look like a grease stain from all the fish and chips. Yeah, just pretend that. Okay. I guess we open it now. Let's have a look inside. Main thing is this. Look, there's something inside. Ooh, let's see. It appears to be a passport, authorizing you to travel overseas. Was that Gregson about to go on a trip abroad then? Past the departure might tell us something. That was... Oh! What is it? This would travel on 31st October, just one day before the incident. What? Really? Oh. He was gonna travel to France the day before... He's supposed to travel... Wow. Gregson went to France the day before his body was discovered. Okay. That's about all there is. Oh, the gash still. Wait. Do you see that? There's something stuck in the side of the trunk there. It's glinting. Looks like a fragment of metal of some sort. But it's wedged in so tightly I can't remove it. Well, don't cut yourself. You'd better leave it, I think. Interesting. There's a lot that happened here, clearly. Yeah, passport, day of departure within 1 week from 31st October. Police business, permission for the applicant, and one additional person. Who was that supposed to be? He wasn't gonna leave alone. Sholmes? Thank you for your concern, Mr. Sholmes. My dear fellow, think nothing of it. Must say I was quite startled when I heard that you'd been attacked by a dog. For the moment, I feared that infamous murderer of so many had come back from the dead. You mean the professor? Fortunately, I see your prize throat is unscathed. That stiff, turned-up collar of yours obviously afforded some welcome protection. Was I that close to death? All I really remember is the dog licking my face over and over and over again. Well, if you wish to avoid such troubles in future, a little mustard spread on the cheeks should do the trick. I should think that would balance the sweetness of your bandage rather splendidly. Really? What to do now? Are you alright, Mr. Naruto? It's rather unusual to find ourselves here in the middle of our investigations. It's just occurred to me that I might have forgotten something when we left this morning. Please don't worry, as long as you continue to investigate thoroughly, you won't go far wrong. He just hasn't mustered his defenses? Oh my god. Of course. Work as soon as possible. Alright, yeah, we'll go back to the Sholmes suite. Get tea from Iris.
Mit dem Schwarzbiergebot, Modend Wien
Mikatoba?
Opfen deine Wut. Her mit dem Knacker, ich befahl, hat wie
What on earth is going on in here? Am I having a bad dream? Ah, no. It's an old German folk song. Rather a fine rendition, I think. That's the least of my concerns. Iris? What did you do, Iris? Iris, what's the matter? Oh, the box is open, look! Who's that sprawling, that relaxed gentleman over there? Iris, is she even listening? Excuse me, sir. I do apologize for troubling you whilst you're singing so merrily, but would you be kind enough to explain the situation? Well, that worked. Crooning gentleman and mute young girl. A rather tantalizing juxtaposition. And one that appears to have incited the gods of deduction within me to find their voices too. Ah, Mr. Sholmes, do you mean... Are you serious? The stains of reasoning within me are playing now as a delightful duet. One melody sings of a reunion full of nostalgia, whilst the other is a morose theme about the great secret you're trying so desperately to conceal, Iris. She's turned as white as a sheet. So as usual, you've instantly seen to the very heart of the matter. And by the time my own brief performance is over, I feel sure this gentleman's song would reach its finale. So then, to Music Land, where all is sweetness and delicacy and harmony. My god, I am shocked we're still going. I thought this would have ended soon. But then we got this scene. Pray, do enjoy Herlock Sholmes' latest logic and reasoning spectacular. I am concerned. I do like that it never ends. I do like it's a different outfit for the silhouette. Firstly, we consider the gentleman's nationality. Clearly, he's a German with no grasp of the English language. As evidenced by the Germanic song he sings and his apparent inability to understand when asked to desist. So, why is the man here at all in such apparently high spirits? The answer, of course, Iris, is clearly known to you. Indeed, do they follow the gaze of those bright young eyes to unravel a particular part of the mystery? The reason for the man's mildly irritating warbling is revealed by the herbal tea. Nope. You obviously offered our German guest a cup of your latest herbal tea. The tea's delectable flavor has made the man's spirits soar. The result of this joyful ditty tumbling incessantly from his lips. Sholmes. He's not speaking. I wait sampling the flavor myself, that I may join the fellow in his state of elation. Now to the next question. Who exactly is this gentleman availing himself so thoroughly of the satay? As it happens, a number of years ago now, a certain gentleman of German origin engaged my services in solving a particularly delicate case. He required the retrieval of letters once sent to an acquaintance that might have proved problematic. In order to conceal his noble identity, he also arrived at my office in a mask. Jaeger! You can't just elbow at me like that. Awa. The gentleman's name was Wilhelm Gottlieb Sigmarsson von Ormstein, the King of Germany. If my memory serves, the mask worn by this gentleman is identical. Yes, there can be no question. The mask belongs to the King of Germany. No, it doesn't. You're lurking again? Alright, Guyan. If it would appear that His Majesty remembers the fine service I afforded him, and he has decided to show his face again, mask and all, in order to express his gratitude. A well-mannered monarch indeed. Would you agree, my dear fellow? No. Iris is like, what are you talking about? Thanks, Diane. The identity of this masked visitor is in fact my former client, the King of Germany. Ah, blah, why are you licking me all sides? Ah! The son is currently in London as well, enjoying the wonders of the Great Expedition. Okay. The King of Germany? No. What do you mean? I have to read the dialogue. I guess I could try not to. Which leaves us with one remaining imponderable. Yes, you young Iris. But your apparently inexplicable silence is unable to hide truth. Yes, reason for your muteness is concealed inside that knapsack. I wonder what she stored in there. A £5 note, I believe. I must say, as your compatriot, I'm deeply saddened. It would appear that you've allowed yourself to be bribed into silence by His Royal Highness, earning yourself some spending money in exchange for keeping quiet about King's secret. And now the final piece of the puzzle. Oops. Said once, what is the secret you strive to hide with your silence, Iris? Ah, yes, we need only follow that brief involuntary twitch in your eyes to find the answer. You were attempting to abscond with that coffee cup. My favorite coffee cup, in fact. Or should I say, the handle of my favorite... should I say, handle of my favorite coffee cup? It appears that His High-Spirited Highness broke it in midst of his hijinks. Which leads us to sad truth. My favorite coffee cup has been broken by King of Germany, and Iris, you tried to conceal it from me. I shall have a bill sent via governmental channels to German royal family for its replacement. Oh, that's such a sad ending. To hide coffee cup. Thus concludes Sherlock Holmes' great deduction of this painful puzzle. Why? This is so bad. With your silence as well, fellows' jovial warbling rather rings in their ears, does it not? Now everyone's depressed. Mr. Sholmes? I must say something does rather trouble me. Pray, Mrs. Hallow, do tell. His Royal Highness doesn't appear to have moved a muscle since we arrived. Ah, and you haven't said a word either, Iris. If Mr. Sholmes has it all right, you might as well own up to it now. Your reasoning isn't entirely without substance, I must admit. And one other thing, Mr. Sholmes. Yeah, not saying that word hasn't been too bad. You get to never agree with Mr. Hodo? Surely not. Well, I actually read the story of that case recently. One you were just describing. And according to that at least, it wasn't King of Germany, it was King of Bohemia. Oops. Goodness, was it? Yes, that's quite true. Master Gotz, Prince, testified to that in court. In his words, I have come to see great exhibition all way from my home in Bohemia. I would ask you to keep that minor error to yourselves. It can easily become quite a scandal. I believe, Mr. Naruhodo, that it's our turn now to make some corrections to a number of minor errors that may have slipped in. Yes, even Mr. Sholmes is willing to admit he might be slightly wide of the mark this time. Although it's clear that Iris is definitely hiding something. We need to find out the truth behind this mysterious scene. Well, one truth is incontrovertible. My favorite coffee cup is no more. So, shall we embark again on a joint presentation of Herlock Sholmes' logic and reasoning spectacular? I'm just VRM V2 settings. I have no idea what any of that means. Alright, so I'm gonna keep not saying that word just for this segment. Firstly, we consider gentleman's nationality. Clearly, he's a German with no grasp of the English language. As evidenced by the Germanic song he sings and his apparent inability to understand when asked to desist. So why is the man here at all and in such apparently high spirits? The answer, of course, Iris, is clearly known to you. Indeed, we need only follow gaze of those bright young eyes to unravel that particular part of this mystery. Reason for man's mildly irritating warbling is revealed by herbal tea. So what? It's a mix of herbs that gives you the urge to sing? Goodness, I should like to try some. And I'd like to hear you sing it, but this man... How long does he intend to keep up with that tune, do you suppose? As I said, he's been stock still entire time. If you look closely, his lips aren't moving either. Ah! So I'm not sure what's actually responsible for spirited singing. I suspect answer lies at the end of Iris's gaze. Probably just mask. We know this mask. Oh, you're right. So does that mean? No, surely not. It couldn't be, could it? No, most definitely not him. Oh no. Of course it's not. Thank goodness. But then, why is this gentleman now wearing it? I'm afraid once again I really have no idea.
Take that!
Oh, it's not the mask? Well, somebody else who's behaving very strange indeed whilst wearing this particular mask has a curious power to corrupt people's minds. Exactly what's happened to this gentleman? Then I would say this calls for a demonstration, my dear fellow. What? Pray, put on the mask. Put on the mask and show us what peculiar things it makes you do. You have us on the edge of our seats. Sorry, I'm far, far too shy. Huh. Say your head after a time, doesn't it? But is he really singing it? You're right, and if you look closely, the man's mouth is open, but his lips aren't moving at all. Gentlemen, couldn't it be waxwork, could he? One step at a time, Mr. Naruhodo. Let's identify source of the singing first. I thought that was an insightful suggestion. Oh! I didn't read question correctly. Wait, this is a gramophone still really seen in our own country? Sound certainly appears to be coming from horn, but machines singing? That can't be right. Science and technology are changing the world rapidly, Mr. Naruhodo. What's right is changing too. It's too much for my brain. Well, at least we found our answer.
Take that!
There you go. Correction number 1. The reason for man's mildly irritating warbling is revealed by gramophone. Indeed, for no well-bred gentleman would break into an obscure folk song when making a social call. In other words, this gentleman isn't singing at all. In fact, it would appear that fellow is unconscious. Ah, music seems to have stopped now. I ask you, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes? Why would I have purchased a recording of that gibberish? I don't know. How should I know? Well, never mind. On with the discussion. Who exactly is this gentleman availing himself so thoroughly of sate? As it happens, a number of years ago now, a certain gentleman of German origin engaged my services in solving a particularly delicate case. It required the retrieval of letters once sent to an acquaintance. That might have proved problematic. In order to conceal his noble identity, he also arrived at my office in a mask. The gentleman's name was Wilhelm Gottfried Sixpenson von Ormstein, King of Germany. If my memory serves, the mask worn by this gentleman is identical. Yes, there can be no question. That mask belongs to King of Germany. We've already established that it was actually the King of Bohemia. Seems Mr. Sholmes intends to persist with his Germany theory for some reason. Come to think of it, the young prince was wearing a mask as well, wasn't he? Master Gotts? The boy whom you had in tears? Don't remind me, or anyone else. Suppose all members of the aristocracy of mainland Europe wear masks? I'm sure they do. Well, probably anyway. The point is, that mask doesn't belong to any king. No, that's right. As we well know, how do you identify the true owner of this mask? Oh, this is different. Wasn't it? Yeah, it was Kazuma.
Take that!
Yes, there could be no question. That mask belongs to Kazuma Asogi. In other words, my memory is sublimely unreliable. Thanks for admitting that. Only you could try to make that sound positive. Kazuma's mask has been languishing on his metal chest for several days. But that doesn't explain why the gentleman is wearing it now. But this is now a simple matter to determine our guest's true identity. After all, the gentleman is unconscious. We can only excuse ourselves in advance to gently lift the mask and peer beneath it. Yeah, Mikatoba. I don't believe it. Ah! Father! I'm afraid, Mr. Sato, you must be mistaken. No! I think not, Mr. Sholmes. It would appear our logic and reasoning has once again revealed the truth. This mysterious visitor is my unconscious father. Usually Mikatoba. Why is she taking control of this? What? Logic and reasoning? We're just looking and saying, right? What an ending pose. So why is Mikatoba there? Why is he unconscious? This sounds like a remix. This absolutely sounds like a remix. I like it. Which leaves us with one remaining imponderable. Yes, you, young Iris. But your apparently inexplicit silence is unable to hide the truth. Yes, the reason for your muteness is concealed inside that knapsack. So that's a 5-pound note poking out from Iris's knapsack, is it? Oh dear, I can't be sure. Most money that we encounter is in coin form. I know, I'm not even sure if we've seen any banknotes here in Britain at all, have we? But Anyway, Father would never have paid money for Iris' silence. It certainly seems like the silent type himself, though, judging by his present state. I see some other reason for Iris' silence, I suppose. But Iris trying so hard not to give away with her eyes. Something entirely different. Smell chest? It contains important documents, doesn't it? Yes, details of all the cases Mr. Sholmes has worked on over the years. Written up by Iris' father, if I'm remembering correctly. Iris insisted the chest is kept locked at all times. She's never once shown me inside. Well, its contents are invaluable to her, I suppose, and entirely irreplaceable. But look at it now. The catch is unlocked for once. Ah, so it is. That's hard to ignore. Very. I've never seen that chest unlocked before in all the time we've been staying here at Baker Street.
Take that!
What are you doing, Iris? Yes, the reason for your muteness is concealed inside that metal chest. An excellent observation. Upon closer inspection, there is something different about the chest's appearance. It's kept locked at all times, yet now, the catch is open. Evidently, this has something to do with your refusal to speak, Iris. But it's a simple enough matter to incite you to speak, I'm sure. I merely need to open this chest. I merely need to open this chest. Here we go. No! Hurley, don't! Oh. Oh! Mr. Sholmes! Mr. Sholmes, Hurley! Oh my god. He's dead! Oh, what a sight. Oh, okay, that really caught me off guard. That was like the last thing I thought would happen. Never! Oh, Hurley, I told you not to open it. Ah, so you found your voice now, Iris. Ah! In other words, what just happened clearly reveals the truth here. Yes, the real reason for your silence until now is... This is somewhat different to the usual dance of deduction you perform, Mr. Sholmes, isn't it? Well, he's left me alone on the ballroom floor, so I'm going to have to dance this next part solo. Anyways, I need to get to the bottom of this. For my own peace of mind. Now then, Iris isn't usually the silent type, so... you don't actually know the answer yet, despite that knowing point of the finger before. Mr. Sato, sometimes a man needs to point his finger first and think later. Oh, well, if you say so. Yeah, I'm going to point my finger at all of you watching at any point in time in the future. And you can't stop me. I think we'd better examine Iris more closely and try to rescue the situation then. Oh, you're holding a key.
Take that!
That's nothing. Yes, the real reason for your silence until now is that key behind your back. Ah! When Mr. Sholmes was thrown into the air before. Just before you called out to try to stop him, you slipped something out of your mouth. Oh, she was holding the key in her mouth the whole time. That something is the key now in your hands. No doubt the key to the chest. You're so clever, Bruno. So now it becomes clear. Thanks to Mr. Sholmes' graphic demonstration, you can well imagine what happened here. But Professor Mikotoba also opened that metal chest only to be punched into the air and land sprawled on the settee. Oh wait, that doesn't explain all the facts. about the stylish scarf and the cup of tea? Above all, why would he be wearing Kazuma-sama's mask? Well, for those curious details, I can think of only one explanation. Clearly an unbelievable miracle took place in this room. Isn't that right, Iris? It was arranged before this whole painful experience took place. Professor Mikoto opened the chest completely unaware of what awaited him inside. The mask was flung into the air just as he was, only to land nearly on his face when it fell back down. And the teacup's journey through the air ended when it caught on the unconscious professor's finger. You mean to say that the stylish scarf is actually just a tablecloth? Wow, the luck of everything to fall perfectly like that. This is the great detective's office, after all, a place of miraculous deductions. Oh, there you go, Susato. Would you expect anything less? Iris. Yes, you're right. It happened exactly as he said. Really, Bruno? Thus concludes Ryunosuke Naruhodo's great deduction of this punchy puzzle. What an ending. So then, why don't I make a fresh pot of tea for all us all?
Objection!
Oh! An admirable performance, Mr. Naruhodo. Hi, Sholmes. You're wide awake. In the final act of the show there, you rather missed everything of importance. But, Mr. Sholmes, if you would cast your mind back to my earlier deduction. Iris, clearly you're hiding a great secret. We're not done! What? Huh? She is? From the look on her face. Mr. Sholmes must be right. Whatever that great secret is, the cat isn't out of the bag yet. So I put it to you again. You were attempting to abscond with that coffee cup. It really is a shame Mr. Sholmes' cup must have been smashed when Professor Mikotoba opened the chest. Oh dear, some things seem to have been broken here. But now that deduction has taken a different direction, Iris doesn't seem to be trying to hide the broken cup anymore. In other words, her great secret is something else. Let's put observational skills to work here one final time then. Oh, what is this?
Take that!
What's that case file? You were attempting to abscond with that case file. Iris, as you know very well, nothing escapes the attention of a great detective. No! We visited Scotland Yard's autopsy lab earlier today. Dr. Gory informed us that the autopsy report of Clint Von Zeeks had gone missing. Clint Von Zeeks? Yes, I do seem to recall. That some years ago, I asked to see the report in question. You were with me, weren't you, Iris? Iris. Bad girl. You mean it was you, Iris? So those papers you have there are... Sorry. Forgive me. Oh, why that picture for it? To hide the case file. We will need to read that file. Alright, now it ends like it should. In truth, I would like to have thought I could have predicted the booby-trapped chest. But it caught me completely off guard. I was very nearly the late consulting detective, Herlock Sholmes. I'm sorry, Hurley. So you mean this autopsy report really is... Yes, I took it from the lab. You know, I knew it was very important. Is there something in it that troubled you, Iris? Not exactly something that troubled me. something I've been looking for. When I saw this report, when I saw the writing in it, I knew it was Daddy's. The writing? Your father's writing? What do you really mean? Oh. Iris? Must be something that's hard for her to talk about. Forgive me to interrupt, my dear fellows. Mr. Sholmes, what is it? I feel as though the poor unconscious gentleman on the settee has been somewhat forgotten. Ah! Father! Yeah, we kinda need help Mikotoba out. Perhaps we should find our guest somewhere more peaceful to rest. Mr. Naruhodo? Yes? Would you be so kind as to lend him your bed? I must do our very best to make him comfortable, I feel. Oh, yes, of course. I'll help you carry him up. So will I! No, I can manage alone, thank you. You have tea to enjoy. We wouldn't want Iris's brood to stew. Because there's no better way to make the professor comfortable than dragging him upstairs like a trunk. Oh, poor Mikotoba! I wonder, perhaps that was deliberate. Maybe Mr. Sholmes is making himself scarce to give Iris a chance to talk more freely. Let's use this opportunity to talk with Iris. Find out what's going on. Yes, please. What about your daddy? Would you like to tell us about it, Iris? About your father? I'm sure I told you before, didn't I? That Daddy used to be Hurley's partner. Yes, and that notes about all the cases they saw together are kept inside that metal chest. That's right. Hurley told me, you see. He said that Daddy's somewhere far away now, so we can't meet. That's one way of describing it. Then, when I secretly unlocked the chest and read through the papers inside, I started to build up a picture in my head of what Daddy must be like. Well, that's only natural. Just like any other girl of your age. I read that Daddy was a professor in medical science, so I studied and took my degree too. Well, that's only natural, I suppose? I respect you're not quite like any other girl of your age, though. Yeah, that's a little, young for that. Just saying. Freaking wild. You get your degree so soon. But there was one thing that I could never find out. Daddy's name. Ah, his name wasn't anywhere in any of the notes that he made about his work with Hurley. But then one day... That's what happened, is it? When you saw this autopsy report, you finally managed to work it out. Is that right? Yes! So it was the handwriting in the report that caught our eye. So, talk about the report more? When I saw the writing in the report, I could hardly believe it. I know that handwriting. I thought to myself, because it was the same as the writing you'd seen on your father's case notes. Exactly. I was desperate to compare the two properly. I needed to see them side by side. I asked the doctor in the lab, but I was told I couldn't take the report away. Even worse, I was told that was the first and last time we'd be allowed to even to look at it there. So he decided to steal it. Ah. When I compared the autopsy report to the case notes I had here, there was no doubt. The handwriting was exactly the same. It was Daddy's. And the signature of the coroner at the bottom of the autopsy report read Dr. John H. Wilson. That's how I finally found out. I learned Daddy's name at last. I see. Since then, I've called myself Iris Wilson. That's because when I had the brilliant idea. befriending stories all about Daddy's exciting times with Hurley. Excited there, and then that I write the adventures of Sherlock Holmes. Iris, I had no idea the stories had quite such a deep personal significance for you. I can see why the autopsy report is so important to her now. And why she was prepared to break the law to get her hands on it. Oh, poor Iris. I must apologize, Iris. This is really all my fault. Hurley? I made a promise, you see, until the time was right. I'd keep the details about your father a secret. You know, a bit very naughty. I'll take the autopsy report back to Dr. Gory and apologize, I promise. Yes, we'll go together, I think. Then, let me look after it for you until we get there. Clint's autopsy report, okay. Iris. Let's go and water my herbs, I think. I'll see you all later. Poor Iris, she must be feeling awful. I know Mr. Sholmes is here for her, but still. Ah! What? How? So look at this, Mr. Sholmes. Mr. Sholmes? Oh dear me. So, you've noticed, I see. But that would mean... What's the matter, Mrs. Sato? You turned as white as a sheet. It's this autopsy report, Mr. Naruhodo. The one from 10 years ago. The writing isn't Dr. Wilson's at all. Huh? What do you mean? How can you possibly know that? Because I know this writing very well. This writing is my father's. Oh. Wait, what? Huh? Iris's dad is... So Iris and Susato are sisters? What? Huh? What? Professor Bigatoba's? Indeed, it's true. And now you know. My dear fellows? No, I don't know anything. What does all this mean, Mr. Sholmes? Because the idea that's slowly forming in my mind is just too extraordinary to believe. Please, you have to explain. This was not the plot twist I expected whatsoever. Can I read the autopsy report quick? Third death 31st May between 9 p.m. and midnight. Situation's death from a single stab wound to the heart. Other superficial external wounds indicative of a duel. Recent scarlet ink stains visible on the little and ring fingers of the right hand, but no document in corresponding ink was found. Autopsy findings: vital evidence recovered from the victim's stomach during autopsy. Credit Inspector Gregson for petitioning so doggedly for the autopsy procedure. No internal trauma noted. Okay. What? So, this autopsy report is actually penned by Professor Bigatoba then? That makes no sense. It's not possible, surely. Not possible? My dear fellow, pray take a deep breath and think again. Yes, you're right. In some ways, it actually makes a great deal of sense. It does? 10 years ago is when Father returned to Japan after his extended study tour in Britain. And prior to his return, where was Dr. Bigatoba engaged? Of course! He's an assistant at Dr. Wilson's lab, learning about forensic science. And as an assistant, he would have aided with the dissection work, making detailed notes, which would be assembled into the full autopsy report. Oh. The once when the work was complete, the head coroner would check the contents and put his signature on the document. In other words, the only writing of Dr. Wilson's in the report would be his signature at the end. I see. So Iris got the wrong end of the stick, you mean? She saw that and assumed the whole report had been written by Dr. John H. Wilson. Which is very understandable, of course. What a complicated situation. Like, why? Mikatoba actually penned the report. So he did the report on Clint and got his own buddy in trouble. Your partner? Thinking about it, most of what we know about you, Mr. Sholmes, comes from the published stories of your exploits. Yes, the adventures of Herlock Sholmes, written by Iris. You need the truth, man. And we really have no way of knowing what's fact and what's fiction. Most troubling for you, my dear fellow, I'm sure. So what about this supposed partner? Of yours? Did he really exist or not? Ah, you've come straight to the point, I see. And please come straight to the answer. I believe Iris explained it in one of her installments. He was a trusted comrade and the only person I could truly have called a friend. Did this partner of yours truly make a record of all your cases? Are his notes really stored inside that metal chest? Absolutely, my dear madam. Absolutely. So, where's your partner now? We rarely meet. See? He lives on the other side of the world. Mikatoba the whole time. But did this autopsy report and the records of all your old cases were penned by the same hand? And if the autopsy report was written, though not signed by your famous partner, there would only be one logical conclusion. Pray, impress me. Your partner would have to be Yuji Mikatoba. In other words, Mr. Sato's father. Upon my word, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes? You are coming along wonderfully. You've hit upon the method at last. You finally grasped the art of deduction. You mean to say... Allow me to introduce you to my great friend and partner, Mikatoba. Okay then. That I did not see coming. Professor Mikatoba? Yeah? Does this mean that you're the real Dr. Wilson? No, my dear, I'm still my old self, Yuji Mikatoba, your father. Oh, of course. This is obviously too much for Sao-san to take in. I must say, though, how my old friend has attained worldwide celebrity as a great mystery solver is the greatest mystery of all. I still remember the first time we met. Pray mind me. When was it again, Mikatoba? 16 years ago, Sholmes. Ah, yes, quite. 16 years ago. I just arrived from Japan with Seishiro and Genshin. I was in search of lodgings close to the hospital, some comfortable rooms at a reasonable price. But the rents are devilishly high in that particular area. That's right. I decided I needed someone to share lodgings and the expense. I was fortunate enough to be introduced to Sholmes, who found himself in a similar situation. I was a cattle fellow back then, a mere shadow of the great detective you see before you now. I was working at the hospital's chemical lab at the time, indulging my curiosities for little gain. And the situation for cohabitation led us to us pursuing cases together, you see. Hard to believe it was a mere 6 years ago. We had a great many adventures. But in the last year, Mikatoba's stay in Britain, that most infamous of cases presented itself. The case with which you've become rather familiar yourselves, Professor Killings. After the trial, Seishiro was summoned back home. Hardly surprising given the circumstances. So there you have it. And as you know, all the details recorded by my trusty chronicler remain in that metal chest. It's just amazing. Wow. What a twist. Professor Mikotoba really is Mr. Sholmes' famous partner. Susato? Father? Goodness, my dear, what a cutting look. As your daughter, I'm very proud to learn that you are the great detective's great partner. But nevertheless, there's another mystery that I really must ask you to explain now. And that is? You know very well what it is. This unresolved matter of Iris' father. Ah, of course. I'd almost forgotten about that one. You had an affair. I should have seen this coming, I suppose. Man, Mikotoba was doing the deed with other women. Oh my goodness. Iris told us that all the notes about the great detective's adventures that are in the metal chest were written by her father. Isn't that correct, Mr. Sholmes? That is indeed what I told young Iris. But if you're Mr. Sholmes' partner, father, and you wrote all these case notes, then Iris' father must be you. Oh! Oh boy. Upon my word, Mr. Sato. You are coming along wonderfully as well. You two have hit upon the method at last. You finally grasped the art of deduction. That's what? What you've always told me, father? Is that my mother died when I was born 16 years ago. You left me in grandmother's care whilst you embarked on your study toward Britain. I've always accepted that. But all this about Iris? Ooh, there it is. Sounds like ice cold stare. Uh-oh. No, now hold on a minute. It was very complicated. I mean, it's really not what you think. Perhaps you'd like to explain exactly what it is? There it is. That ice go from ice cold to red hot just before she... No, really, you shoot long into the stick. Show him, say something, man. Nope, she's getting the Susato takedown. That's quite enough, my fiery fellows. Mr. Sholmes, why don't you get all dressed up? Whilst I don't like to interrupt this exciting exploration of the past, Mikotoba and I have an urgent matter that requires a short excursion. But it's very late, Mr. Sholmes. Where must you go? Why, my dear madam, is that not obvious? My partner and I must pursue our natural enemies. So, get your coat, Mikotoba. The game is afoot. But Sholmes really must give Susato a full explanation, I think. Later, my dear fellow, later. Our carriage waits downstairs already. What? Don't just leave like that! You haven't changed one iota, have you? I mean, really, if we set our home after 10 long years, when I open that chest to fit the nostalgia, I quite inexplicably pass out. And it's as if that wasn't enough, when I eventually regain consciousness, I'm plunged right into all this. Father, please. Go with Mr. Sholmes now. What? I don't doubt that whatever happened, you were acting in everyone's best interests. I trust you. Completely. Sato. Sending the great detective as great partner off on renewed adventures together? It's more than I could have hoped for in my wildest dreams. Aww. Very well then, we'll speak again later. So, I believe your own work is done for the day. I wish you the best of luck for tomorrow. Yes, Naruhodo. Good luck in battle, and in reaching a decision. Decision? About whether to go back to Japan, I suppose. Well...
So much happened that day that I barely knew what to do with myself.
Right?
It would only be later that I'd come to realize how amidst the chaos I'd unleashed were all the clues I needed to finally unearthed the truth, and that all the turmoil was necessary to give me the resolve to see everything through.
Okay. So next time, we're finally solving this case. And... Oh, wait. Wait, what? Wait, that was episode... Oh my god, we're almost done with the game. Oh, final chapter next time. Oh my god, we're almost done. We might be done next week. Oh shit. Well. Okay. I'm glad we did this. No wonder there was so many plot twists happening at once, because the finale is the final... Because the final part of this trial is the last chapter. Crazy. Anyways, I'm going to have to end it tonight. Excuse me. We're going to have to finish this game up next week, maybe. Oh, I'm excited. This is so much information. We're basically... We're done with our last investigations, then. There's nothing left but to finish the last trial. Interesting how they did that. This is the only time they really did it this way. The first chapter is just a trial. Now the last chapter is just a trial. Okay. Fair enough, game. Yeah, the resolve of Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Awesome. I can't wait. So, have a good night, everyone. Appreciate you all being here. I'm excited to finish this up next week. So, have a lovely rest of your night. Take care. Au revoir.